This season, we've got double the queen and double the me. Nope, same amount of me. Start over. Double the mean, probably, was right there. Hello, my name is Haley Whipjack, and welcome to season 6 of Once Upon a Time. They didn't divide this season into 2 neat little sub-seasons for me. I'm doing various homages to the OG Season 1 characters with the looks this season, starting off with this shirt that I've never actually found an excuse to wear before that I do think Regina would crush. It's a very Regina-heavy season, okay? We need to center her energy right from the start. We're gonna go for a ride on this one, you and me. We've got double Regina, yes, but this season also brings us Aladdin, well-established genie rules being broken so consistently. It's like the season's one goal was to break their well-established genie rules. Submarines, the world's most skippable flashbacks, memory loss, secret moms, secret kids, the musical episode, we've got it all. And if you wish you could have had it all with me before everyone else, you should have been on my Patreon, patreon.com/Haley Whipjack, where you can get parts of upcoming videos and entire videos before YouTube does, as well as extra content every month. Now, before we actually get into the events of this season, I do want to go back over our family tree. Family is important in every season of Once Upon a Time, but I would argue it's maybe the most important in this season of Once Upon a Time. So let's review. Haley, you added Robin Hood to the family tree, but you didn't add on his dead wife and pre-existing child, because you see what it does. You see how silly that looks up there? You're right. But you see what it does. I also just now finally confronted the fact that Regina has a niece named Robin Hood. Robin Hood is her niece? We still have a couple of question marks to resolve this season. We've got Charming's biological father is a question mark. Gold, Rumpelstiltskin's biological mother, is a question mark. Of course, we will also be adding at some point Belle's child. She's pregnant with Mr. Gold's child. And by God, we better get Hook on there this season. Christian marriage or otherwise, I need him on this tree. Okay, maybe he'll die, and then a child could be named after him. We'll have an infant running around named Captain. Not even Killian. There's a lot going on this season, okay? And I can't have you losing focus, losing sight over the very silly family tree. This is all very important. And when I say there's a lot going on, I mean that. I mean it. There are so many bad guys that you're about to have to keep straight. I don't envy you, but we are gonna have a great time. After all, we have 2 Reginas now, and you're gonna tell me that neither of them are gonna pull a move on that blonde woman? I already know. Guys, it's okay. I'll be okay. Anyways, let's go! Fit check! Emma Swan realness today from before she started dressing really weird in the later seasons. You'll see what I mean. You'll see it. I've had this red leather jacket for so long. I'm so excited to finally be wearing it. Sorry this video took so long after the last one, by the way. I didn't mean to take a 10-month-long hiatus, but sometimes your Once Upon a Time recap series lasts longer than your marriage. And it makes the Once Upon a Time recap series feel too weird to touch for a bit. But we're here. We made it back. Season 6. It's bad. Not even necessarily in a fun way. Let's talk about it. The literal first scene of the season is them showing me that they've recast Jafar. This is the worst possible omen for the season. I loved Jafar. I know he was only in the spinoff, okay? But that's my spinoff. If you haven't watched my review specifically of Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, you're going to be really confused about some of the emotions that I am conveying in this specific video. That was my spinoff. And that was my Jafar. So I'm putting my Jafar on the board. Pretty Jafar. Hashtag not my Jafar. My Jafar, Naveen Andrews, had filming conflicts. He was on Sense8 at the time. A perfect TV show. I personally would have canceled the entirety of Once Upon a Time before I recast that man. Jafar is taunting Aladdin in a desert because Aladdin is a savior, and it's crushing his spirit and destroying him mentally and emotionally. It is important to know right off the bat this season, there are many saviors. It's a role. It's not just Emma Swan. It's a recurring thing throughout the multiverse. It's framed in a way as when a villain rises to enough power, a savior shall rise to meet them, kind of like keeping a balance in the Force. Aladdin, from the movie Aladdin, was a savior, and his villain is Jafar. Like how Emma's villain is Regina. And now I don't personally remember that kind of tension between Aladdin and Jafar, but it has been a while since I've seen the film. And it's gonna be a long minute before we come back to Aladdin and Jafar. They open the season and then they absolutely vanish. But there they are on the board. In Storybrooke, Maine, a dirigible, a steampunk blimp of sorts, crashes into the woods outside of Storybrooke. Dr. Jekyll, you remember how Jekyll and Hyde are here now? Dr. Jekyll tells our crew, Emma, Snow, David, Regina, Henry, and Captain Hook, that this ship was from the land of untold stories, which, if you'll recall, and it's okay if you don't, the land of untold stories is a separate dimension. It is a place where characters seek refuge when they're trying to escape their original stories. You don't like your story? Come over here to the storyless dimension, I guess. Hyde comes around to gloat and say that the Dark One sold him Storybrooke, something the Dark One does not own and therefore cannot sell. And also Hyde shows off that even Emma and Regina combined are not strong enough to take him out with magic, making him, I think, the strongest character we've met in the whole show. What do you mean Emma and Regina combined can't take him out with magic? Fine. No, only one thing will take out Hyde, and it's a special weapon formed of materials from the land of untold stories. So they need to get things from that crashed dirigible. Jekyll, Dr. Jekyll, will be able to create that weapon if they can all help him scavenge. So they all go to help him scavenge. Off to the side of the scavenging mission, Emma Swan begins to have ominous visions of herself fighting a hooded figure on the main street of Storybrooke. Her family is watching, Regina's nowhere to be found, and she's having a sword fight with this hooded figure that ends in her death. These visions cause her hands to shake violently, and she refuses to tell anyone what is happening to her. I guess just so they don't worry, because she's the savior, and she's here to save people, not to make people worry about her. Hook tries to get her to open up emotionally to him, and it works just as well as every other time he has tried to do that. The Jekyll weapon works. That's right. They've already scavenged it, made it, and used it. They get Hyde, and they lock him up in Regina's secret underground hospital prison, the one she kept Belle locked in for 28 years, and then kept the genie, Sidney Glass, Giancarlo Esposito, locked in, and then kept the author, Isaac Heller, locked in. You remember. They almost don't manage to get him cuffed because Emma is having an episode. She's having those tremors, that vision, but Regina, in distress, knocks her out of the episode, and she manages to come to in time to get Hyde. However, Hyde does comment on the tremors. He knows something. Archie Hopper, my favorite cricket, my number one guy, I miss him every time he isn't on screen, tells Emma that she might need therapy. She goes to visit Hyde instead. That's fine. Who listens to Archie anyway? We'll go talk to Hyde instead. He seems super trustworthy and respectful. He calls Emma girl and mocks her for having previously been imprisoned herself. Remember when she was 17 and gave birth in prison? Cool thing to mock somebody for. Eventually, Emma says that he can either tell her what she knows or he'll be left alone in the cell forever. And no one's going to listen to him talk, listen to his weird, ominous ramblings ever again. And he'll be alone, and how would he like that? He tells her to follow the red bird and warns that she's not ready to face the end of her own story. That night in the woods, Snow and David find the survivors from the dirigible crash and invite them to find food and shelters and supplies at Granny's Diner in town whenever they're ready to accept it. They're basically just like, here's a place you can go. We're gonna back away slowly. We are no threat to you. Hearing that the people have been found, Emma, who was helping search for these people, sends Hook out of the woods, sends him away from her without any good excuse other than she wants to be alone so that she can follow a magic little red bird that she saw, just like how Hyde told her there would be. Emma finds the owner of the Redbird, a young woman called the Oracle. She forces Emma to sit with the whole vision and watch it through, including Emma's own death at the end. And the Oracle tells Emma in no uncertain terms, this vision is true. Emma will die that day, no matter what. And then the kid disappears. Emma goes to find Hook at Granny's, seeking comfort from the man she just banished from her company. She does a lie, says that she went to talk to Archie and realized it, and she's just super stressed right now. She didn't go to Archie. She went to go talk to stupid idiot Mr. Hyde again. She went to talk to stupid idiot Mr. Hyde so that she could hear all about his philosophizing about how saviors never get happy endings, and they're always brought down by their villains in the end. Helpful stuff. I have to talk about Zelena. Okay, so you remember how Zelena, the Wicked Witch of the West, has a baby, a daughter, named Robin Hood, named, of course, for the baby's father, who is also named Robin Hood, that Zelena tricked into fathering this child? Yes. Yeah, we all remember. Also, the child's father was Zelena's sister, Regina's true love, real-life soulmate. And Zelena is part of the reason that guy, Robin Hood, was turbo-killed last season. We all remember. Zelena and the baby move in with Regina. Of course. If I'm Regina, I wouldn't want them anywhere near me. But Regina is apparently a much better man than I, okay? Zelena excitedly tells Regina that Robin Hood's son, Roland, his son from his previous marriage, left Regina a gift before they went back to the Enchanted Forest. He left her a feather from one of Robin Hood's arrows. A genuinely very sweet, sentimental gift. It was incredible of Roland to think of Regina in this way. And Zelena can't find the feather. She tells Regina about the feather, not knowing where the feather is, and then she can't find the feather. And then later, Zelena finds Regina crying in the mayor's office, the room where Robin Hood died. And Zelena tries to relate to her, saying she lost her true love in that room too. Hades, the one that killed Robin Hood? Regina doesn't really want Zelena's emotional support and admits that there's a part of her that blames Zelena for Robin Hood's death, probably because it's partially Zelena's fault, TBH. So then Zelena explodes, because actually, she's mad at Regina too. Regina's mad at her, she's also mad. She's mad at her sister also, because Regina didn't invite Zelena to be a part of the splitting Regina into a good half and an evil half and then killing the evil half thing that ended the last season. And that means that Regina killed the part of herself that is most like Zelena. In Zelena's own words, "Hey, I noticed you split yourself into good and evil and then killed the evil. Did you ever think about how that would make me feel? Did you ever think about how I identify with the part of you that is explicitly called evil? Also, cry for me because I helped kill your boyfriend." What's happening? Zelena and the baby move out of Regina's house. They go back to Zelena's farmhouse. It's not like Zelena didn't have a house. She just moved in with Regina for the extra baby raising support. And in Zelena's farmhouse, there's a familiar figure waiting with a pair of evil apple teenies to share. The evil queen, alive and well, ready to embrace her sister with open arms. And the two of them go off to Regina's vault, easily bypassing the wards because they're constructed with blood magic. And the evil queen and Regina have the same blood. The evil queen just needs a few supplies, promising Zelena that she doesn't intend to harm Regina. She just wants to teach her a little bit of a lesson. That's never meant anything bad in this show. The next morning, at Granny's, Team Hero is giving bundles of supplies to the refugees from the land of untold stories that they found in the woods, when in walks Belle? Belle? I thought that lady was sleeping cursed. Pregnant and sleeping cursed to get away from her evil husband? What happened? What happened was her evil husband, of course. Rumpelstiltskin, the dark one. Gold. You know him. He sold Storybrooke to Hyde. Basically, that was him just promising to stay out of Hyde's way in exchange for information on how to reach Belle and wake her from the sleeping curse, since True Love's kiss is no longer on the table. That woman does not love him. She, quite frankly, does not even like him. Gold is given away to walk into Belle's dreams, where he meets a man calling himself Morpheus. The god of dreams, Morpheus. He can cover up Arthur. Nobody cares about that guy. Morpheus shows Gold where Belle is holed up in her dream world, in a dream world version of the Dark One's castle. Gold has 1 hour to enter and to wake Belle, or she's gonna get kicked to the usual place where sleeping curse victims go. The Red Room, the Fire and Smoke hallway, the Nightmare Dimension. We all know it. I don't know why Gold didn't go to the Nightmare Dimension right away. I would have assumed Belle would be in the Nightmare Dimension. But I guess Belle is so pretty and special. She gets like a little bit of a trial period in a nice dream world. But then time is going to run up and you do have to go to the Nightmare Dimension. It's only fair. So Gold has to inception his wife. He has to inception his wife, convince her in this dream that she is still in love with him so that true love's kiss will work in the dream and wake her up. Even though she so does not want to be woken up, especially does not want to be woken up by him. He reenacts moments from their history with her, but rewrites them so he was always making the right move. He saved the teacup from being chipped. He invites her to dance with him across the library. He tells her about his lost son to show that he trusts her. They kiss. Belle gets her memories back, and she remembers exactly why she put herself under the sleeping curse in the first place. To protect her and her unborn son from this man. Belle denies the chance to wake up. She doesn't want it. She will not put herself and her baby in danger. She will not go back to Gold. Gold is in the waking world. She can't be in the waking world. Morpheus appears. This was a test to make sure that Belle was not going to return to her beast. Morpheus reveals he isn't the Greek god of dreams at all. He was simply collateral in this dream world. When Gold sprinkled magic sand on Belle to get into her dreams, her mind wasn't the only one touched. Her unborn child was as well. This man is their unborn child. This adult, grown man, this in his 20s man, that's their unborn child. And he pleads with Belle to not let Gold destroy their family like he did his last one, and kisses her on the forehead. This, of course, is the true love's kiss that wakes her up. She flees Gold, running to Granny's to find somewhere to stay. And that's where she meets back up with Team Hero. But they don't want to make Belle stay in Granny's. She ends up staying in the Jolly Roger, Captain Hook's ship. That's where she lives now. Last place Gold would look, I guess. It's the Belle and Killian roommate arc. They don't give it nearly enough amount of screen time. I would actually love to explore the Belle and Killian roommate dynamic, and they just don't. They just don't. Why? That's so funny. Because yes, Killian is also still living on his ship. Emma is not inviting him to move in with her in her fancy new house she got last season. He's still living in a pirate ship. Okay, so there's a guy. He's a Count of Monte Cristo. You know, like the book, The Count of Monte Cristo. Back in Fairy Tale Land, Regina the Evil Queen hired the Count of Monte Cristo to take out Snow and Charming for her. He couldn't go through with it in the end, and he ended up fleeing to the Land of Untold Stories, and now he's in Maine because of the dirigible. The show spends so much time on him. I refuse to. He is boring and doesn't matter. The Count of Monte Cristo is here and trying to sword fight Prince Charming and Snow White to death because the evil queen has his heart and is making him do it. And this lasts until Regina, the not evil queen, straight up stabs the man, sends him to the fiefdom in the sky. She feels real bad about it, but Regina does do a full murder in broad daylight. To save Snow and David. It's for a noble cause. The evil queen is causing all kinds of problems, actually. She's put a barrier on the town line again. So once again, no one can leave or enter Storybrooke. She did that whole business with the Count. She reveals her existence to Team Hero by saying, "Mommy's back." No. Evil Queen gives Zelena a baby rattle that had once belonged to their mother, Cora, the rattle that Cora had used to soothe baby Regina. And now Zelena can use it to soothe her own daughter. It's a generational heirloom to further connect Zelena to the Evil Queen emotionally. And then the Evil Queen goes to ask David if his father really died in a freak car accident fueled by rampant alcoholism, or if maybe something more sinister happened there. I don't know, David. Have you ever thought about investigating your terrible father's accidental death? Could be something there. And then she tries to seduce Mr. Gold, the man who has made out with her mother and sister both. The man who is determined to get his wife to love him again at all costs. At this exact moment, she's like grabbing at his tie and pawing at him and talking about how their story never got to play out. Get away from him! She promises to bring no harm to Belle and the unborn child in exchange for a coin that she uses to plant seeds of doubt in David's mind about his father's death. This season is so stupid. Why are we talking about David's dad? Who even is that guy? David brings the coin right back to Gold to make a deal for information on the coin. All David has to do is take a tape to Belle. So I guess, all things considered, nothing matters. Let's do a flashback to the fairy tale world. You remember how sometimes those were fun? This one is kind of. Because it's got my girl Ashley Boyd, Cinderella! You remember Cinderella? You remember the story of Cinderella, right? The invite for the royal ball comes to Cinderella's family from the prince's footman, comes to deliver it to her and her stepmother and her stepsisters. The show also destroys all of my dreams of my girl Anastasia Scarlett being Ashley Boyd's stepsister, even though she was canonically a Cinderella stepsister. Fine. That's fine. I didn't want to see her again. Anyway, I don't love her and daydream about her and yearn for her every day or anything. They show us Cinderella's stepsisters being big, big bullies, and they try to pull off naturally coming up with the nickname Cinderella, and it does not work. I have never seen that concept work. Everybody tries it.
Cinders on Ella. Cinderella. Oh, it's perfect. Cinderella.
Also, this shows Gus the Mouse in his little shirt, which reminds me that Gus died as a human man 2 seasons ago. We even see him again as a human man, confirming it was that Gus escorting Cinderella to the prince's ball. Why did Gus die so unceremoniously forever ago? Why bring him back now? What is the point of this? Cinderella and her prince are so cute until she sees the prince giggling with her stepsister. Clorinda, her stepmother, recognizes her and tells her everyone is laughing at her. They're all making fun of Cinderella. And that's when she runs off into the night, leaving a slipper behind. Back at home, Cinderella discovers that there was a key that her birth mother left her, and that key opens a gateway to another world. And she prepares to leave this place where nobody likes her anyway, so she'll just go start somewhere else, fresh slate. Her stepsister Clorinda stops her. The prince is searching for the girl with the glass slippers. Cinderella can't leave. And anyway, Clorinda's not in love with the prince. She is in love with his footman, Jacob. That's what she and the prince were talking about. That's why they were giggling together at the ball. Clorinda is going to leave this place. She's going to go get married to Jacob. They're going to run off and start a little farm together. Not sure who's going to be doing the farming, the aristocrat's daughter or the castle servant. Who among them has worked in the fields? Whatever. Cinderella has a thought, okay? Instead of just riding away into the distance, Clorinda and Jacob could go through the gateway. She gives Clorinda the key, knowing it will turn any door into that gateway. Clorinda and Jacob meet up at the guard tower where they were supposed to meet up anyway. And so there, Clorinda can open that gateway, her and Jacob can leave. But Cinderella gives up their location to her stepmother in exchange for her stepmother not breaking her remaining glass slipper to leave the proof of Cinderella's identity for the prince. And then her stepmother breaks the shoe anyway. But it all works out for Cinderella in the end. Of course, Snow White and the prince appear and they recognize Cinderella and she marries her prince happily ever after. Less so for Clorinda and Jacob. The stepmother finds them, stabs Jacob, and then pulls herself and Clorinda into the land of untold stories. So you'll never guess who's now in Storybrooke from the Magic dirigible. We'll get there in a second. First, you need to know that the evil queen has decked out Mr. Hyde's cell, letting him live in luxury in the mental health hospital prison. So now he doesn't want to share any of his secrets with Regina. He is solidly Team Evil Queen. Also, Leroy confirms that Dopey got out of the tree he was stuck in last season. Just not with Emma's help. The dwarfs did it all on their own. And then Dopey left to go get his master's degree. Huge to know. Glad he still isn't a tree. We learned this, I will say, because Emma interrupts Leroy's therapy session with Archie and makes him leave therapy early so she can complain about how hard it is to keep secrets from her family. To the cricket. Which she does for about 10 minutes, could have waited, and then she goes to the diner, where Henry has been making a list of all the newcomers into town and brings in the list so he can start kind of cross-referencing the newcomers to their stories. Ashley Boyd brings her baby, Alexandra. You remember her baby that Gold tried to buy from her 5 seasons ago. She brings Alexandra around to find out if any of the newcomers have kids that need to be helped with, because Ashley runs the daycare in town, which we saw in season 4, which does mean that Emma gets to watch Hook play with a baby, and she has a whole moment about it. Hook is also helping teach Henry how to sword fight, which is very funny because David taught him that like 4 seasons ago. So I think Henry is just kind of letting Hook have this. Ashley finds out that her stepsister Clorinda is in town, blown in from the land of untold stories, and has gone to find her with her husband's hunting rifle in hand. Emma casts a locator spell on Ashley's shoe, because that's how you find Cinderella, is you use her shoe. They could have used anything, but that's not as cute and fun. What with her being Cinderella and all, they find Ashley stalking through town with her rifle, looking for Clorinda. She insists she wants to help Clorinda, not hurt her. That's not really what it looks like, but I do trust Ashley. I do, implicitly, forever. Emma tries to stop her from running off again, but the tremors come back. She's besieged by visions, and Ashley gets away. I say besieged by visions. It's the same vision. It's the same vision every time. Me, personally, I feel like I'd be getting bored of that vision. Like, show me something new, you know? Hook and Henry try to help her through it, but they are interrupted by the evil queen. The evil queen is here to gloat and tell Emma that she won't be able to save Ashley again. Not this time. Ashley was her first ever save, but you can't save everybody all the time. She wants to prove to Emma how pointless she truly is in the end. So she teleports Emma and her boys to the edge of time so they'll be unable to get to Ashley in time to help. And Henry says, "That's dumb. Surely we can still figure out where she is." And he looks for clues in his storybook, and they figured out, and they head the right direction. Evil Queen 0, Henry 1. Ashley finds Clorinda in a pumpkin farm with her stepmother. It's Jacob's pumpkin farm. He has been here in Storybrooke the whole time. The stepmother gets her hands on the rifle. We do guns now. And yet, she still elects to use her cane sword to stab a hole through Ashley instead. Emma arrives just in time to wrestle with her magic and heal Ashley up. She can save the same person twice. Ashley's happy ending remains, and now Clorinda and Jacob can start theirs too. The stepmother goes to hospital prison and has to do community service. And now, somehow, Emma is finally ready to ask Hook to move in with her. And he no longer has to sleep on a pirate ship, and now Belle lives on a pirate ship all alone. Please look at Dr. Jekyll's chemistry set. I feel like he's 6 years old and making potions. That is exactly what this setup reminds me of. Regina realizes while looking at all the serums and things that the evil queen is definitely trying to drive a wedge between her and Zelena, because that's what she would have done back in the day, back in her evil queen days. And when Regina goes to ask Zelena about that, she sees the rattle. So she knows she's right. And Zelena demands that Regina stop judging her. The wildest ask I have ever heard. They relocate Jekyll's setup to Dr. Whale's garage, which is where we learn that Whale has really leaned into the Frankenstein aesthetic these days. He's still blonde. He's experimenting with eyeliner. He's got a new long leather coat. I don't know what inspired this change in him, but honestly, hell yeah. I'm all for it. I think this is his only appearance this season. David gets his end of his deal with Gold. You'll remember that he was making deals with Gold. He learns that his father didn't just die in a drunken stupor driving his cart off a cliff. No. His father was found stabbed. There was foul play here, and David wants nothing more than to find out who did this. Snow is vehemently against that. Okay, she wants to build up Storybrooke. She wants to move on from vengeance and pain and fairy tale land. She's trying to get the school running again. David tells her exactly what she wants to hear and then decides he's going to look into it anyway. He's just going to lie to his wife about it. Also, the tape that Gold sent Belle through David is a poem that Gold has read out for their child. It's just a poem, and it's very sweet. Ominous. What is he up to? We get the backstory for Jekyll and Hyde. You'll never guess whose fault it has been. All along, you will never guess who's actually been the problem the whole time. Unless you guessed, it's the guy who's literally always the problem. Before we talk about the problem, TM, we learn that Jekyll is from my favorite dimension, Victorian England. The woman he loves, Mary, is the daughter of Dr. Lydgate. And this name may mean nothing to you, and it shouldn't. But this is the doctor who wanted to do scary brain surgery on Alice in the spinoff. Jekyll's from Alice Land. Oh, I hope all his weirdness gets Alice and Cyrus and their unnamed daughter out of that place somehow. I'm still very upset that they're in Victorian England forever. Dr. Lydgate is not impressed with Jekyll's personality-separating serum theories, but you know who is? That's right, the problem. Rumpelstiltskin. He finished Jekyll's serum for him with a little magic, creating Mr. Hyde. And he's even the one who named Mr. Hyde.
As a matter of fact, maybe that's what you should call yourself. Mr. Hyde.
Hyde also falls in love with Mary, the same woman that Jekyll loves. And Hyde isn't a bad guy. He's less afraid than Jekyll. He's more willing to ask what he wants and speak his mind, but he's not cruel. He's not thoughtless. He's passionate. He's determined. Mary likes those things in a man, it turns out. She likes Hyde quite a bit, in a way that she's never liked Jekyll. Hyde and Mary meet up and they study science together well into the night. And when Mary wakes up, she finds herself in bed with Jekyll. She believes that Jekyll tricked her, snuck into her room under some sort of false pretenses, maybe took advantage of her in her own bed, because Mary would have never willingly gotten into that situation with Jekyll. So they struggle physically as Mary tries to leave the room, go get help, get some distance away from her and this man that she believes may have attacked her. Jekyll attempts to force her to stay so they can talk it out, and in the push and pull of it, Jekyll accidentally shoves her out of her second-story window. And Mary crashes to the ground, dead. Jekyll's response to this, immediately, is to drink a bottle of his serum, turning into Mr. Hyde, placing Hyde at the scene of the crime, and Jekyll nowhere near it. So Hyde comes to, realizes what has happened, and runs back home to Rumpelstiltskin, panicking, afraid. Rumpelstiltskin turns to the panicking, very afraid Mr. Hyde and force chokes him, screaming that Hyde is a failure. A failure? Yes, because Rumpelstiltskin wanted the serum for himself, to remove his weakness. He believed that that's what the serum could do. It could remove your weaknesses. In particular, he wanted to remove his blossoming feelings for his indentured servant back at the Dark One's castle, Belle. But clearly that's not how the serum works. So he turned his back on Hyde, banished him, and therefore Jekyll, to the land of untold stories, and went home. So now that we know it was Rumpelstiltskin's fault all along, let's go back to Storybrooke. Mr. Gold cuts his hair, and it's the worst thing that's ever happened in the show's entire runtime. I am not exaggerating. Why does he look like that? Why did they do that to him? I know, realistically, it is because Robert Carlyle had a different role at the time that required a haircut, but it is literally a crime to me. Pay him more money to not cut his hair. Pay him more money to keep the wig he had in the first couple episodes of the season. Put it back. Put it back. The evil queen springs Mr. Hyde from hospital jail. He's on the loose. And then the evil queen takes her new bestie, Hyde, to visit Gold and his weirdly newly exposed head and neck so that Hyde can get Mary's old necklace from the pawn shop and show off that Gold cannot kill Hyde. No matter how badly he wants to, it just doesn't work. And now Hyde is threatening Belle. Gold can't have that. He goes to the Jolly Roger where Belle lives now, remember? He knew that. They weren't keeping it a secret from him, I guess. And Gold shows up to add some extra, protection to the ship. He puts up a protection spell so that Hyde can't come into the ship and Belle can't leave. Anybody else can move to and from, no problem, but Belle is now stuck. Regina and Jekyll come to Emma and David with the news of Hyde's escape. So now they have even more motivation for Jekyll to finish his duplicate murdering serum he's working on. That duplicate murdering serum is a problem for Evil Queen and her bestie because of how they would be the only possible victims of such a serum. They track Jekyll down easily and they smash up his chemistry set. Ah! Regina and Gold, of all people, help Jekyll back to rights later, and they find that Jekyll stashed just a bit of that serum away where Hyde wouldn't find it. So Gold very happily takes all that remains of the serum, coats his wiggly dagger with it, and announces it will never be used on the evil queen, only on Hyde, because he has a deal going with that lady. She's promised his wife and child protection. But it was all a ruse. Hyde knew where Jekyll was going to hide that extra serum. They have the same brain. And he swapped them. Gold never had the real serum. Hyde did. And he dumps it all over the ground. Now there's none. So when Gold tries to stab Hyde, Hyde simply ends up with wiggly dagger in hand. The ability to control the Dark One in hand, and he uses it to have Gold take him to Belle. Oh, Belle! Jekyll's already run off to the Jolly Roger and met Belle there, the Dark One's wife, alone on a pirate ship. That's right, Jekyll is here to kill Belle for revenge for Mary, because he blames Rumpelstiltskin for what happened to Mary, even though he's the one that pushed Mary out a window. Hyde can't go on the ship to save her, even if he wanted to, and neither can Gold, as long as Hyde has him in his control. He's just gonna make Gold watch as Jekyll kebabs his wife. Jekyll's ready to end this once and for all until Hook appears, saving Belle, skewering Jekyll. And when Jekyll dies, Hyde chokes on his blood, too. Looking at each other from across the pier, they fall as a pair. In the arms of an angel. That's right, they have to share. They're the same guy. And so we learn that's how you kill the duplicates. You take out the original. So if Regina wants to remove the evil queen from the equation, Regina makes Emma promise to do what is necessary, that if Regina isn't strong enough, if her remaining capacity for evil darkens her again, or if the evil queen just becomes too big a threat, that Emma will do whatever it takes, that Emma will be the one to take her out when no one else can, just the way that Emma trusted Regina in Camelot. They stand by the sea, and they swear to keep their joint family safe. Ladies, hey, you've barely interacted this season. You can't drop this on me now. Gold tells Belle that someday she will love him again, out of necessity. I don't think that's what love is, my man. You leaning over your wife, making threats about how your child will always be in danger if she doesn't let you control her life again? I just don't see it working. Snow has a mini arc where she is a teacher again and has to, rediscover her sparkle and her love of teaching. She has a new teacher's aide from the land of untold stories named Shireen. But her name isn't actually Shireen. She runs off to the woods and finds the Oracle, the little girl that made Emma process her death vision. And the Oracle calls her by her true name, Jasmine. Princess Jasmine. Uh-oh, Jasmine, you're in trouble. Because Emma traipses through the woods with Archie and Pongo, arguing about whether or not therapy is effective. I don't know how this conversation started. When Emma finds the Oracle dead, poisoned, and Jasmine's running away from her, seeming guilty as all hell. Emma takes her into the sheriff's office for questioning, and once Jasmine learns that Hyde is dead, Jasmine's happy to reveal her true identity and plead her innocence. Emma believes her instantly, because of how she always knows when people are lying. I hate every time they bring up her superpower, especially in this instance. She was running away from a poisoned corpse. Ask more questions. Jasmine is looking for Aladdin, the savior. This is distressing to hear, because Emma's the savior. So what's going on? Good news. Archie shows up to chat with Emma in the street, asking her to elaborate on her visions for him again. She says no thanks. She's gonna go find the other savior and confirm that being a savior isn't a death sentence. If Aladdin is here, alive somewhere, she never has to tell her family about her scary dreams. Everything is gonna be fine forever. I don't think that's what that means. I don't think that's what that means. I think it means, yes, savior's not a death sentence. Fate is whatever. You control your own destiny. Sure. I don't think it means you don't have to tell your family about the horrifying psychosis you've begun to go through. I just think they'd like to know. That's all. Archie busts into the Charming's apartment where all of Team Hero is gathered. Emma, her parents, her boyfriend, Regina, Jasmine, and Archie demands that Emma explain her visions and her tremors, and she finally does. She tells everyone who loves her, and also Jasmine, that her death may be imminent because of her role as the savior. This is very upsetting for everyone because Emma's been lying on top of the contents of the visions themselves. Weird of Archie to do. No? Because it wasn't Archie. It was the evil queen in disguise. The real Archie is bound and gagged in Zelina's house, forced to help Zelina babysit little Robin Hood, while Zelina and Evil Queen go have a spa day. They gossip about how hot they think the Dark One is and how fun it is to be evil. Evil Queen loves that Zelina is wicked, even though Zelina's been worrying that her daughter will grow up to hate her if she fully accepts and leans into this wickedness. There's a real chance that her daughter will resent that. And the Evil Queen relates to this. She does. It's why she never told Henry the truth of who she was. But that also means that he never got the chance to accept or reject her. He just rejected it outright when he learned there was a lie. So she encourages Zelina to be openly evil around her daughter and raise Robin in that image. So Zelina turns Archie back into a cricket and suspends him in a little cage above her daughter's crib. Once upon a time, can you let me see Archie having a good day? Please? Henry and Jasmine bond about loving a savior who is doomed to die. I don't think we should have Henry taking the role of emotionally mature, good with loss guy here. That's so sad. In a better world, Henry is living in New York with his dad. And I mourn that world for him every day. Regular flavor Regina is pouting because people are assuming that she's the hooded figure in Emma's vision, the one that kills Emma with a sword. So she hides in her vault to put together a spell to find Aladdin so they can find the savior and prove that Emma doesn't even have to die. Emma doesn't have to die, so we don't all have to keep blaming Regina for something that she hasn't even done yet. And of course, Emma finds her there. They do find Aladdin. Jasmine, Hook, Henry, Regina, and Emma all travel into an old underground crypt in the woods. How long has that been there? And Jasmine believes that one of the bodies, long decayed, is Aladdin's. And she cries into Regina's arms? Everyone leaves Emma alone in the crypt to process this, that being the savior really is a death sentence, except for Henry. Henry knows that she needs support more than she needs a minute. Her tremors, her visions are overtaking her, and Henry apologizes for being the reason that Emma is dealing with all of this in the first place, because she wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him, if he hadn't sought her out, and he's really starting to blame himself for that. A figure emerges from the shadows of the crypt. It's Aladdin! Alive! He isn't the savior anymore. He has a magic pair of scissors, golden shears that can cut the strings of fate themselves. They can sever the savior from their destiny, though doing so will also, of course, take away their magic, take away what makes them special. Aladdin couldn't hack it, couldn't handle the burden of being the savior. He cut his fate from himself, and when Agrabah fell to Jafar, he fled to the enchanted forest. That's right! Aladdin has been in Storybrooke the whole time. Since season 1, he was frozen in the curse with the rest of them. Living in a crypt? Maybe? Does he have an apartment? He makes a comment that the sheriffs are too busy saving the world to notice a petty thief, so he has been doing some amount of stealing. Were he and Will Scarlet roommates? I think they'd get along, and also probably hate each other. That kind of getting along. The apartment is empty now, though, Aladdin. You can go back. Whatever argument you were having with Will that ended with you camping in a crypt is now null and void. You can go sleep in a bed. Aladdin gives the magic scissors to Emma. He gifts her that choice, and she chooses to give the scissors to Hook so he can get rid of them for good, go bury them at sea. And Hook doesn't do that. He tells Emma he will, but he just holds on to them instead, just in case. Just in case his girlfriend decides she doesn't actually want to die for the greater good someday. Emma and Henry pep talk Aladdin into finding Jasmine, and the two reunite in a park. Their story can finally, truly begin. They never were together, but they always had a spark. They always had a something. They can really explore that now. They can find their happily ever after. Or Jasmine can immediately say she needs Aladdin for his savior powers to save Agrabah. That works too. We do get a flashback to see how Jasmine and Aladdin met, and also how Aladdin got those fate-cutting scissors in a sequence labeled many years ago and in the capital of Agrabah. What's the capital called? Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Jasmine seeks out Aladdin while undercover because she needs a thief. She needs his help finding the diamond in the rough, a special weapon that could help her defeat Jafar. Also, Aladdin is Australian. I didn't mention that before.
I might be a selfish street rat, but you're a selfish princess.
Throws me off every single time he talks. They have a little journey, and they learn that the diamond in the rough was never a weapon. It was Aladdin all along, the savior. He's got magic. He's the weapon they shall use to defeat Jafar. Jafar tracks down Aladdin, a little red bird on his shoulder, and he shows Aladdin his fate, his inevitable death, as all saviors must face. And then he offers Aladdin a solution to that fate. Those magic shears. Believing Aladdin has taken him up on this, Jafar goes back to the palace and traps Jasmine in an hourglass, just like in the movie. There's no other reason that he does it, so I guess he just really liked the movie. But Aladdin sweeps in on a magic carpet, saves Jasmine, and flies off with her. Still the savior. Jasmine turns down his proposal to go save the world with him and fight Jafar. She instead elects to stay and help change Agrabah politically. She doesn't even kiss him about it. And that's how they met. That's how Aladdin got those scissors. Done. Let's have a different flashback. Once upon a time, back when Captain Hook was in Neverland, sailing around on the Jolly Roger, he was kidnapped by Captain Nemo from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. The Jules Verne novel, Captain Nemo. Captain Nemo wants Hook's help to find a treasure, the key to a mysterious island. It'll take them to that mysterious island, which may even be a different land where they can all escape their desires for vengeance. Nemo realized how misguided the quest for revenge is after he got his own, but some of his crew members, particularly his young first mate, still harbor these aspirations of taking the lives of those that took their families. See, Nemo is also trying to get Hook to abandon his crocodile hunt. This is pre-redemption arc Killian, pre-meeting Emma Killian, all of that. He's talking about how he doesn't want a family and how skewering Rumpelstiltskin is all that matters, and he's mean to his crew. The usual. And Nemo is just kind of trying to adopt every angry young man he can find, I think. It worked with his first mate. Those two adopted each other hard, but Hook is not interested in the adoption process. But then Hook finds out who the first mate actually is. It's Liam. Not just Liam, but Liam 2! The sequel to Liam! Hook's younger half-brother, named after Hook's older full brother, Liam. You remember how bad Hook's dad was? He sold his 2 sons, and then he went and he found true love, and he and his true love had a new son, and he named his new son after his dead first son, so he could have a new Liam. I love to think if he had a second son, he would have named him Killian. And when Hook learned about that, he could not handle it, and his dad... He left Liam alone. He doesn't have any problems with Liam. However, when Liam 2 learns who Hook really is, he certainly has problems with Hook. Hook tries to leave the Nautilus without ever having to face Liam 2 and also the truth and also consequences for his actions. But he fails. Liam 2 finds him and tries to stab Hook. But Captain Nemo gets in the way, pleading for Liam to not do this, and Liam accidentally stabs his new dad. Nemo! Hook just leaves. While Nemo is bleeding out on the floor in Liam's arms, Hook goes back to the Jolly Roger, says, "You guys have fun. Have fun with all that. Sorry about your second dad. That's just how dads is." And then the Nautilus ends up in the Land of Untold Stories after that, I guess. That's the mysterious island. The mysterious island was the Land of Untold Stories. Hook helped him get the key. We don't see the Nautilus actually go there, but I guess they did. We've spent too much time away from Storybrooke. Let's go back to regular time. In regular time, Storybrooke, Regina is taunting the evil queen and also her terrible older sister, telling them that actually Team Hero is doing better than ever now that the evil queen pretended to be Archie. And Snow and David take advantage of this taunting session to slip into Zelina's house and free the cricket. Not to return him to human form, but at least he's not entertainment for a baby now. And that's how they fix the Archie thing. Jasmine tries and fails to convince Aladdin he can still help her, he can still help save Agrabah, savior or no. And Emma runs in to help, wearing the worst outfit she's ever put together. Is she 60 years old? Who is this? Did her mother dress her this morning? I'm full of rage looking at her wardrobe this season. What happened to my Emma Swan? Whatever, she gives him a pep talk. Australian Aladdin doesn't care that she's dressed like that. It works. She knows better than anyone that you can't run from your fate forever. Even though she wishes she'd never been the savior, she is, and she has to accept that about herself. So Aladdin apologizes to Jasmine for running away, and she tells him the truth about Agrabah, that after Aladdin left, it vanished. It's gone. There's nothing to go back to. There is nothing to restore. They have to find it first. Snow White continues to have mini arcs. She runs into Belle in the waiting room of the local hospital. Belle is waiting for her first ultrasound and wondering how she can ever let Gold into her life or the baby's life someday if she can't even invite Gold to an ultrasound appointment. To which I say, why are we considering inviting him into our life or our baby's life? Do not do that. What do you mean? Hook and Henry bonding time. And by that, I mean Henry gets a tip from his evil mom that ruins everything. The evil queen poofs into Emma's backyard to tell Henry it's normal to not like your new parent, as a former step-parent herself, and to show him where Hook has hidden the fate scissors, proving that Hook did a huge lie to Emma. So the Hook-Henry bonding time doesn't have the most amicable foundations. Henry tries to take a rowboat to actually throw the destiny scissors into the ocean, But Hook stops him on the docks, just in time to see a familiar submersible roll up to shore. The Nautilus, fresh from the land of untold stories. The crew takes Hook and Henry aboard. Henry is now under the ocean with Captain Hook, his least favorite man. The man who can't even look Henry in the eyes and reassure him that he wasn't going to use the fate scissors on Emma, because he might use them on Emma. So Henry tells Hook that Hook is not a part of their family, and then sits around a little despondent. He has zero faith in Hook to get them out of this situation, which that part I don't get so much, because you've got to admit, even if you don't like the guy, Hook has gotten out of a lot of situations. Hook opens up to Henry, admitting to the kid that he killed his own father, which Henry did already know, but Henry didn't know about the 10-year-old Liam that his father was caring for at the time. And that's why Hook wants so badly to make sure that Henry's family is safe and cared for, because he already ruined his own. And also Liam's. Which, that seems disingenuous to me, because I think Hook wants so badly to make sure that Henry's family is safe and cared for because it's Emma's family. And he's in love with that woman, and he wants to be this kid's dad? Just like there was another kid he wanted to be that kid's dad, too. I think they're wrong in this scene. I think they're making Hook be wrong about his own motivations. I just think the writers stopped understanding their own guys. I understand their guys just fine. I don't know what problem they were having. The duo finds a diving suit, one of them old BioShock Infinite ones, but there's only one. So Hook helps Henry suit up, and he shoves the child into the ocean with no training on how to function in such a thing. The boy does not have scuba training, much less training for however this thing works, but it's Henry's job to go get backup, leaving Hook to face Liam alone. Henry comes back just in time to politely ask Liam to stop trying to kill Killian with a knife. That's his plan. He literally says, please stop, and it works. Liam is so distracted, presumably confused, that Hook has the opportunity to get the upper hand and knock Liam out cold, to the point where he needs medical attention at the hospital. Hook and Henry find an understanding with each other. They both love Emma and want what's best for her, and together they lock the fate scissors in a chest and toss it to the bottom of the sea. Father-son bonding complete. Killian waits at Liam's bedside in the hospital, where he is recovering, right next to his real good dad, Captain Nemo, going to the land of untold stories. Paused his story, paused Nemo's bleeding and dying, and then it started up again when they left and arrived in Storybrooke. But the search and rescue team from Storybrooke found him just in time to get him into surgery and save his life, unbeknownst to Liam at the time. Nemo is going to live. Liam has given up on revenge, knowing that all he would accomplish is filling another young boy with hatred and anger and continuing these cycles. They're all gonna be okay. Hook even fesses up to Emma that he didn't get rid of the magic scissors at first. He tells her the truth. Not that it matters, because the evil queen goes and grabs the scissors from the bottom of the ocean. Gold wants them. They aren't just for saviors, of course. They'll cut anybody's fate from them, and he wants to cut the ties of destiny from his unborn child. He believes his child to be doomed by their very nature, and also that it's their fate to hate him, probably. The evil queen spends this scene in an absolutely gorgeous midnight blue crushed velvet number that I truly don't think she can walk in, but it's okay. She looks so good. The hair could be better, but I think I just love her in gold. Well, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you macking on the pawn shop, man? Leave Mr. Magic Lizard alone! She times it perfectly, so it happens just as Belle was coming by to drop off a copy of her ultrasound photo, but Belle just leaves it on the doorstep. She doesn't even see. She's not trying to come in. Also, the evil queen is here to seduce Gold into helping her finally get her hands on Snow White's heart. Some things never change. I mean, everything's wrong, right? Gold cut his hair, Regina is twice, Emma's barely even a character, Henry's had 4 lines all season, I haven't seen that stupid baby once, and Aladdin is Australian. But at least we're still all about getting our fingers into people's hearts at the end of the day. The one constant I have. To get Snow White's heart, the evil queen must develop a plan, partially because half of it is in David. If you'll recall, they each have half of Snow White's original heart, just sort of broken apart and stuffed into each of them. And she can't just grab the hearts either. Regina put a protection spell on both of them, knowing the evil queen. and knowing what she wants. Evil Queen, however, has her hands on some water from the River of Lost Souls, the water that made people melt in hell last season. You remember it. Underworld Hades' death water. And she's threatening to use it on the entire town, melt the whole town's population into water puddles, if Snow and David don't give up their hearts to her. She's got them all gathered up by Regina's vault. I don't know why they all came to gather where she told them to. Surely it's honestly safer to make her seek you out in this situation, right? Don't show up to your own execution. Snow and David, of course, give their shared heart to the Evil Queen. Emma's devastated, but Regina reluctantly removes the protection spell on them so their hearts are grabbable. But the Evil Queen does not crush the heart halves into sand. No. She doesn't want them dead. She wants them suffering the worst fate of all, loneliness and despair.
You say you always find her. I'll start looking, Shepherd.
Listen, I am so glad someone's making fun of him for the I'll always find you thing. When she places the heart halves back in their chests, Snow passes out, fast asleep. David kisses her to wake her up with true love's kiss, and it works, just like always. But as soon as Snow is awake, David falls asleep. Only one of them can be awake at a time. They will always be without each other. Regina's grand revenge, after telling Emma and Henry that her and the Dark One always had a certain chemistry, horror and disgust abound. Why would you say that to those two people in particular? Her grand revenge is to engineer a situation where Zelena finds Gold and the Evil Queen making out in the pawn shop. And it works. Zelena is furious, turning green with envy again. You know who else is pissed? Belle. Because Zelena tells Belle about everything. Of course she does. It's Zelena. When has she ever kept something to herself? Once. As much as she's out here preaching sisterhood and honesty and loyalty, she is just so self-centered all the time. That's really her core. So now Belle is mad at Gold, not even about the kissing the queen thing. She actually does not care who her husband kisses right now. She, again, doesn't like that guy, but she does care about the scissors. Because why does this man think Belle would be okay with him cutting the kid's future away from him, just so the kid doesn't grow up to hate him the way the Dream Kid did? She's not okay with it. She doesn't want Gold to get that close to the kid at all, much less to start snipping at things. Belle says that Gold isn't evil. He's just too weak to be good, a line that, quite frankly, slaps. Get him. Get him again, Belle. So now Gold is mad at Zelena. No one's having fun. Me least of all. It's time for the stupid mirror episode. Regina is fully ready to sacrifice herself to take out the Evil Queen so that she can't keep causing problems. And Emma says, no, you will not do that. We will do something else, actually. What are you talking about? Snow gets really paranoid about mirrors because she remembers that the Evil Queen loves a mirror and can look at any of them with her magic mirror, which still works without Giancarlo Esposito, I guess, because that guy's definitely not coming back to this show anytime soon. So now we live without mirrors. No mirrors allowed. Emma and Regina want to track down the dragon. You remember the dragon. If you pay him 10,000 American dollars, he'll do a wish for you. But that's probably not going to happen. They have no way to track him down or to leave Storybrooke anyway, so it's kind of weird they were even talking about that. Different plan. We are going to trap the Evil Queen in the mirror dimension through a magic mirror. Also, Henry's having relationship problems with his girlfriend Violet. She's been standing him up a lot lately, which is making him nervous for how willing she's going to be to go with him to the fall dance. His life is really hard, because on top of all that, he has to go be bait for his evil mom and lure her to the beach and reminisce about his childhood with her so that his two nice moms can appear to trap her with a mirror. We all remember high school, middle school. How old are you now? And it doesn't even work. The Evil Queen traps Emma and Regina in the mirror dimension instead. Now they're in a weird mirror hellscape. With the dragon! He's here too. I guess the Evil Queen didn't kill him in New York at the end of last season. They have no magic in the mirror dimension and no way to communicate with anyone outside. They can only watch through mirrors into Storybrooke. One way. Their only hope is to try to somehow reach Henry anyway, who has no idea that they got mirror dimensioned. They magicked him off to safety. before the actual trapping of mirroring. You know, we try to do our best by the kid. They watch him through mirrors, watching him preen for his school dance and gush about how grown up their boy is getting, but he doesn't seem to notice no matter what they do. The evil queen is now running around masquerading as nice Regina, hugging Henry and listening to Snow White shit talk her. The evil queen is actually desperate to get in good with Henry, seeking out the hammer of Hephaestus from gold, which is an artifact that grants magic to those who have none. She wants to give it to her baby boy as a present. Gold reminds her that love is a weakness, but she comes back with,
Love can be weakness, but it can also be a weapon. And I'm about to use that weapon on my son.
babe, what do you mean by that? I just don't think that's what you meant to say. Do not weapon your son. Henry talks to the evil queen, believing her to be his regular mom, and he says he doesn't think he's good enough for Violet, the girl who's currently standing him up for dinner and has been standing him up repeatedly. And the evil queen tells him that that girl's a commoner and Henry's a prince. So Henry notices something might be up here. It's actually not even what tips him off to this not being his mom. It's that she tells him to fix his posture, which is something the evil queen has said to him before while not in disguise. I do think it probably should have been the commoner thing, though, Henry. Your mom doesn't say things like that. Violet does show up to dinner finally, and Henry stealthily tells her that his mom over there isn't really his mom, and the two of them sneak off to find Henry's real mom. Henry's real moms are, of course, chilling with the dragon in the mirror dimension. He drops the fact that he once had a daughter who he lost because of his own failings, which I believe is potentially the first ever once upon a time lore drop like that doesn't end up going anywhere. It's just a thing, he says. The dragon shows them a half-completed way out of the mirror dimension that Sydney had been working on back in the day, and hopefully between the three of them, they can make it work and escape, and they won't even need to bother Henry. No, they need to bother Henry. The evil queen realized her jig was up, and she followed Henry into Regina's vault, where he went to try and, figure out how to go save his real moms. And the evil queen wants Henry to man up, grow a spine, make a decision to follow the more ruthless and the darker path in life. She wants Henry to see her, to understand her, and to choose her at the end of it. But she needs Henry to take some real action to start him down that path. So she grabs the dragon's heart from where it's stashed in her vault. His body's in the mirror, but his heart's in the vault. And she uses his heart to control him and turn him into an actual dragon. Plot twist of all plot twists. The dragon was a dragon all along. While they are running from and being threatened by a real dragon, Regina tells Emma she's afraid to raise Henry alone. She says that Emma can't die, Emma's visions cannot come true, that Regina hasn't been hesitating to martyr herself because she knows that Emma would raise Henry right, where Regina has already proven insufficient alone. And Emma says, hey, don't talk like that. We're getting out of here. We're raising our son together still. Pull yourself together, woman. Their son is currently in a real pickle. His moms are in danger. They have no magic in there, no weapons. There's a full fire-breathing dragon, and there's only one way to save them. He must take the hammer of Hephaestus, given to him by Evil Mom, and kill the dragon. He must smash the dragon's heart with the hammer. His moms will be saved at the cost of one innocent life, and Henry's heart will be darkened. A small price for his moms. Henry must take the hammer and smash the mirror. He smashes the mirror. Like the obvious move here, the mirror he's watching his moms, he smashes the mirror and lets his moms out. Regina and Emma are free, and they're back with their boy who immediately starts lecturing the evil queen on the importance of family. That's right, that's our Henry. Henry dances with Violet and Granny's because they missed the real dance to do mom-saving shenanigans. And turns out she hasn't been trying to ghost him. She's just been really struggling to fit into Maine when she's used to being in Camelot. It's been a really hard transition for her, and she should have been leaning on Henry more, but she didn't want to make him feel weird. They're gonna be okay. And Emma and Regina cry about how much they love their son, and I also cry about how much I love their son. Belle and the Wicked Witch of the West team up with Aladdin and Jasmine to steal the Sorcerer's Wand from Rumpelstiltskin. I hate this show, I hate this show, I hate this show, because Zelena needs that wand to help Belle get out of town. Aladdin gets the wand. Not only does he get the wand from the pawn shop, he also takes a genie lamp. A genie lamp! And not just any genie lamp, Cyrus's genie lamp. You remember Cyrus? I remember Cyrus. How am I yearning so much for Once Upon a Time in Wonderland? I swear I didn't like that show while I was watching it, but I have since latched on so intensely. But do you guys remember who ended up in Cyrus's lamp at the end of Once Upon a Time in Wonderland? Because I do. How could I forget? Anyway, Gold descends on Belle and Zelena to reclaim his wand. And he also places a golden bracelet on Belle that she cannot remove magically, that will allow him to track her anywhere she goes. Yeah, man, that'll make her trust you around the kid. What are you doing?
That Rumpelstiltskin takes children, not the other way around.
Tell that to your firstborn.
Gold obviously tries to kill Zelena for that one, the woman who's responsible for the death of his firstborn, but he can't. He can't hurt Zelena because of how she saved his life in season 3? Is that true? Has that come up before? Or did they make that up just now? Because I don't remember that being part of it. But there's also been so many things since then. So Gold turns to his best option for getting Zelena out of the way. The evil queen. He plants one on her sloppy style to entice her into ganking her own sister. Please tell me she isn't swayed so easily. I know he's demonstrably the most desirable man to ever exist in this universe. But let's have a backbone. I know he's the Dark One, but the kind of dark magics he must possess to make every woman fall in love with him instantly in a way that's so ride or die. They want him centuries down the line, no matter what he did to them. Also, yes, I did get a life-size Rumpelstiltskin cardboard cutout. Do you have something to say about that? All right, let's have some more Rumpelstiltskin and Belle backstory. Back in the day, in the Dark One's castle, Rumpelstiltskin tossed Belle an infant in a basket. He took it from Jack and Jill for a thing he needs. But first, he needs Belle to watch after it for a little while, till it's time for that thing to happen. Belle takes to babysitting rather well, and she reads the baby the book Her Handsome Hero, the first book her mother ever read to her. She still loves the book and still aspires to be like its protagonist, Gideon. Belle discovers that Rumpel is doing a ritual to summon a being called the Black Fairy, and he sweeps in to steal the baby back from her and lock her in a tower so she can't get in the way of his baby sacrifice or whatever. The Blue Fairy shows up to release Belle from the tower and go save the baby and stop the Black Fairy from being summoned, because that fairy steals babies, squirrels them away. Belle's got to go get that baby. Rumpelstiltskin is out in the deep, dark woods summoning the Black Fairy. But he won't let her take the baby right away. He needs something first. He freezes her with squid ink. We all have squid ink now. And she recognizes him as the Dark One. Rumpel has a simple question for her. If she steals babies, takes children from their parents, then why did she abandon her own child years and years ago? That's right. Rumpelstiltskin is her son. We have a mother for our crocodile, the Black Fairy. I can't believe this woman saw something in Malcolm, of all people. You remember Malcolm? The Black Fairy laughs at him and says she simply chose power over love and that it was easy. Belle grabs the baby and the Black Fairy flies off. Rumpelstiltskin is devastated. Belle brings the baby back to Jack and Jill. And that's what you missed on Glee. Back in regular time, in Storybrooke, Gold is rampaging about town, causing problems, throwing magical aging dust on fairies to send a message. Presumably it's sand from the beach that makes you old or something. Wouldn't that be just about right? It's the same kind of magic that Dark One Emma used on Zelena to make her pregnancy go turbo mode, implying that Gold could easily do the same to Belle. That's the message. Hook and Emma attempt to steal the fate scissors back from Gold. They freeze him with squid ink. We've all got squid ink now. And they pillage his shop. But instead, Emma finds a sword. The exact sword that skewers her in her visions, with a red jewel on the handle. She has an episode shaking and collapsing, meaning that she and Hook don't notice when Gold shakes free and storms off to Belle. But Emma does take the sword. It's her sword now. Gold is ready to speed up Belle's pregnancy and get his hands on the only creature that may ever love him unconditionally, his new son. New blank slate son. Severed from ties of fate, new son. Another Gold and Belle argument occurs where she says she knows he can be better, and he insists he can't, and they keep fighting anyway. And Belle tells him the price for getting his hands on their son, the price, if you will, is that he will lose her forever. I swear she's threatened this before. Has he not already lost you? So Gold doesn't magically speed up Belle's pregnancy because he feels bad, but that doesn't mean that nobody does that. The evil queen spikes Belle's tea at Granny's. Body horror instant 9 months pregnant commence. Belle's in labor at the nunnery with Emma at her side, and she has a vision of her son, that grown man from her dreams again, and he insists that Belle knows what it is she has to do to keep him safe. She's heartbroken, but she does know. Belle gives birth to a beautiful baby boy that she names Gideon. She asks the Blue Fairy to be his fairy godmother and to take him far, far away from this place, to keep him safe until the time that all of this is over. And Gideon, only minutes old, is given to Blue, who I would literally never trust with a child. Belle also gives her a copy of the book Her Handsome Hero to read to the baby so he can remember that his mom loves him and learn about the hero that she believes he will grow into. Belle just wants to give him his best chance. And they go. I guess fairies can leave town through the protection spell. Who cares anymore? Gold manages to get into the nunnery just after Blue takes the baby, and Belle won't even tell him the kid's name. She doesn't trust him with it. Now Rumpelstiltskin's got a new son to find. It's a throwback. Gold tears his own shop apart in anger, like takes a crowbar to all the glass containers. Seems like the kind of guy I'd trust with my newborn. I don't know what Belle's problem is. The evil queen does, in fact, go to kill Zelena, by the way. No backbone at all, only listening to Rumpelstiltskin. Entirely against anything they've been trying to build up about needing and desiring family. But Regina shows up just in time to stop her, threatening to crush her own heart to end them both and save Zelena. And then she mocks the evil queen for believing that Gold cares about her and could fill that hole in her heart. And lets her go. Evil queen runs off, humiliated. And Regina tells Zelena that, yes, she still does blame Zelena for the whole Robin Hood thing. Yes, even now that you've been working with the bad guy. Zelena asks why Regina gets to grow and change and be forgiven, but she doesn't. And it's like, where have you grown and changed, though? You have to grow and change first, and then the forgiveness happens after. Why are you crying that your sister hasn't forgiven you? You haven't done anything forgiveness-worthy. Jasmine thinks that the genie lamp that Aladdin has could help them find Agrabah. Genies can do a lot of things. But when they try to summon the genie, there is no genie. Only a pair of bedazzled cuffs. The cuffs that bind a genie to the lamp. Aladdin, happily, clasps the cuffs to his own wrist, more than willing to be bound to a lamp if it helps Jasmine, and he becomes a genie, which is so crazy because this actually happened once to my good friend Will Scarlet. Genie time, time for genie shenanigans. But first, Emma slashes at the evil queen with her fancy new sword, cutting her face, but it doesn't hurt Regina. The evil queen gets a scar on the cheek, and Regina is completely unharmed. There may be a loophole to take out the evil queen that doesn't involve getting rid of Regina. And then Gold appears and puts one of them golden tracking bracelets on the evil queen. Not the evil queen's day. Everything is very, very quickly falling apart. So the evil queen's gotta ramp up. She kidnaps Jasmine, gets her hands on the genie lamp. Hook and Emma and David go to save Jasmine, take out the evil queen, but Queen's ready to start making wishes. She's the master of the lamp. She gets 3. And one of the wishes that she plans to grant is actually one of Emma Swan's. There's a wish she made offhand to Aladdin like 2 weeks ago that the queen somehow heard, where she wished she wasn't the savior. Wish granted, Emma Swan was never the savior. We go to the wish realm. The wish realm! Emma's in a big, pretty pink dress, her correctly aged parents wishing her a happy birthday. It's the life she could have lived in the enchanted forest if everything had gone as it should have. The evil queen was defeated, there was no curse, no need for a savior. All her memories of Storybrooke are just a strange dream to Emma. She does still have the sword, but everything else is just gone. She still has Henry here, too. He's soon to be knighted, a happy young man. Emma has absolutely everything she's ever wanted. They've even got a big-ass painting of Balefire in this world, a big memorial painting of Emma's lost love, Henry's lost father. No Hook, I will say. I think Balefire is only present as a memory because Emma needs Henry to be happy. So, of course, this isn't following any kind of logic where it would actually work out this way, right? If Emma simply hadn't become the savior, if the evil queen just had been defeated early, Balefire would still be in Neverland and then in New York. He wouldn't be just in the enchanted forest for Emma to fall in love with and for him to die normal. So this is fully just wish fulfillment for Emma. This is just, you have everything you would want to be happy that you think would be possible in that world, right? You're following. You're following. I'm saying it's not actually like alternate universe Emma was never the savior. It's fully alternate universe Emma wish fulfillment. In the real world, Regina has a very important realization. She and the evil queen are the same person. That means if the evil queen is a master of Aladdin the genie, so is Regina. She waltzes in to the mayor's office, stops the evil queen from putting her hands all over Aladdin. This lady cannot stop putting her hands all over people. And Regina makes a wish. She wishes to be sent to the same place Emma was. Nice. Sick. Emma Regina road trip arc. Begin. The best part of any season. Regina is not wiped of her memory or disguised in any way that would help her in the wish realm. She's got the evil queen's face and a weird wardrobe. Regina approaches the dwarves for help finding Emma, which, okay, I thought Regina was smart. That was a dumb thing to do. The dwarves run off to warn the king and queen that the evil queen has returned. The war is not truly over. Regina finds Princess Emma singing and humming with a basket of flowers in the forest. Very Disney princess. And she realizes that Emma doesn't recognize her and is instead very afraid of her. Princess Emma does not want to hear about how she and Regina raise a son together or how Emma's family needs her to be the savior. Emma certainly doesn't want to hear about how her parents aren't real or how Emma needs to accept her reality is fake. She doesn't want to hear about any of that. Her parents show up, warned by the dwarves, to threaten this woman with the evil queen's face. Regina teleports to her old castle for safety, only to find a familiar, giggling wizard still locked in the dungeons. Rumpelstiltskin, and he is happy to help Regina with whatever she needs, if she'll release him. And if this world isn't even real, like Regina keeps insisting, what does it matter if she frees Rumpelstiltskin? None of the damage he causes means anything. So fine, she releases him for information on a way to get back to Storybrooke, and it turns out he's got a magic bean. No, he doesn't. What are you talking about? He's got a magic bean. In no universe does the Dark One who's locked up in a cage, have a magic bean. First off, he can use the magic bean to leave. Right? Right? Or if it's just that he knows where a magic bean is and he can go get it and bring them, okay, I feel like he would have been using that as leverage for somebody in the past. It's a magic bean. That's like the thing to have. Also, in what world does the Dark One have a magic bean that he is not using to leave the enchanted forest? And I know in this world, Balefire apparently, I guess, grew to happy adult age in the enchanted forest and is just like, was the prince of the realm. The Dark One's son was allowed to be the prince of the whole realm? So maybe that's where he got the magic bean from. It's Balefire's magic bean from when he was like 14, but instead of using the magic bean, Rumpelstiltskin hid it somewhere, and Balefire met young Princess Emma and they fell in love somehow. I don't know. Whatever. Fine. He has a magic bean and he's gonna meet her at the lake tomorrow at noon, and then she can have it and they'll get it all figured. So Regina has until tomorrow at noon to get her savior woken up. So Regina's gonna play up the evil queen thing to try and jog Emma's memory a little bit. Every villain needs a savior after all, and that's normal. And not homoerotic at all. Prince Henry gets knighted in a ceremony with his mother and his grandparents, but hark! The evil queen bursts in, just like she did at the Charmings' wedding. Regina is hoping that Emma will fight her to save the Charmings, but Emma instead kneels to the ground and begs for mercy? So Regina kidnaps Emma's parents and leaves, telling the princess to bring a hero to save them. Emma comes to her with a box containing the key to the kingdom. She is fully surrendering to protect her parents, and Regina's pissed. She wants her Emma back, not whoever this is. So Regina tears out the Charmings' hearts, demanding that Emma wake up and stop her from crushing these hearts into sand. She's yelling that she knows Emma. Emma can always fight when it's the right thing to do. But Emma doesn't. And Regina crushes the hearts into sand. And like, it's fake Snow and David, but still. Emma cannot fight Regina. But Sir Henry, following closely behind her, sure can. He's determined to take the evil queen down. The one person Regina would never fight. She doesn't even try to defend herself. She's gonna make no moves to stop Henry from doing this. And Henry throws his sword at her to avenge his grandparents. That can't be how they taught you to do that at night school. He throws his sword at her. And Emma Swan, who could not wake up and remember who she was to save her parents, casts a defensive spell and freezes both Henry and the sword, saving Regina. Her save Regina instincts are so strong that she overpowered a genie wish, which could mean anything. Could mean anything at all. Probably means nothing. Hook isn't even in the universe where she gets everything she wants, but she still cares about Regina so much. She can counteract the most potent magic that we've ever known about. She can't save her parents because she can't hurt Regina. Regina's just happy to get her Emma back, really. They go to meet Rumpelstiltskin by the lake for their magic bean. He follows through on his end of the deal, as always, and then scampers off to enjoy his freedom. Love that guy. Always happy to see him in peak form. Emma and Regina cast down the bean, but before they can jump into the portal, a familiar stranger fires arrows right at them. The Wish Realm's Robin Hood, demanding they hand over their jewelry and let him rob them. Regina is stunned, entranced. Regina, who's been doing nothing but insisting that this whole world and all its inhabitants are fake, cannot stop looking at Robin Hood. Emma watches the portal close while Regina walks towards Robin Hood. She could have left without Regina, but could she have? Really? And now they've used their magic bean, used their deal with Rumpelstiltskin, and they're trapped in the Wish Realm. Bad road trip so far, ladies. Hope you can turn this car around. And back in Storybrooke, things are also still happening. David decides to take out the evil queen all by himself. And his plan is simple. Bust into the mayor's office, grab the genie lamp, give it a little rub, become the genie's new master, do a wish about it. Now, of course, the evil queen hasn't used all 3 of her wishes, so David can't... It works. It works. That is not how genies work in this universe. Alice Wonderland did not insist on walking around with 3 wishes in her pocket forever, just so no one could ever control her boyfriend, just to have David Charming rush in and steal a genie from a lady. That is not correct. Wrong. Wrong. No one cares about genie lore but me, apparently. It works. I guess. David's the genie master now, just because he's holding the lamp, and that's all you need to do. And he wishes that the evil queen gets exactly what she deserves, which means nothing. That is an ungrantable wish. He wasted a whole genie wish, and the evil queen laughs at him. As she should. Now Hook and Jasmine and Henry can run in, Jasmine can grab the lamp, and the evil queen is forced to retreat. She walks down Main Street and ends up face to face with the hooded figure from Emma's visions. It turns her into a snake in a cage and marches off further into town. So now Jasmine has Aladdin in her service? No. She hands the lamp back to David so he can try to genie wish the sleeping curse away that's affecting him and his wife, and he just hands it back to her. Doesn't even try. Why, David? He just gives up 3 genie wishes. It's not like Aladdin has a finite amount of wishes he can ever grant, or that David getting his 3 wishes will get in the way of Jasmine getting wishes. No. He just gives... Aladdin and Jasmine leave to find Agrabah and save their people. Jasmine wishes them there, and they're gone. Mr. Gold goes to his wife who hates him and removes the magic tracking bracelet from her as a show of good faith and tells her that something terrible has happened to their son. He cannot trace Gideon's location with magic no matter what he does. Belle calls up the convent, not trusting Gold for a second, and Mother Superior confirms that something did indeed happen. The Black Fairy took their son. This is why we don't trust Blue with things. The Black Fairy has him. Gideon's grandmother came to collect. Belle and Gold fight in the pawn shop, a brand new activity for them, I am sure. But they are interrupted by the hooded figure from Emma's visions, and it takes its hood down to reveal that it is Gideon, all grown up. The man from Belle's dreams. This is the person fated to kill the Savior. Ba ba ba. And that is the mid-season finale of season 6. Emma and Regina trapped in a different realm. David making the dumbest decisions anyone's ever made. Snow White asleep. Gideon a bad guy. Find out what happens next immediately. Whoa! Fit check. I just can't wait to start casting some magic that surely will come with no sort of price. Evil Dark One be like, all magic is free. I might have gone a little bit too green with it, but Nimue was pretty green, if you recall. And Nimue was the first Dark One, so maybe they just get slowly less green over time. Because Emma and Hook weren't green at all, which was lame. This is my Dark One Sona. My name is still Haley, but now it's also written on a wiggly knife. Why am I sitting like a weird little goblin? It feels correct. It feels right. Something about being in the Dark One's skin. You can't sit in chairs correctly anymore. No, I didn't paint my fingers. Okay? I didn't want to get green on everything I own. It's already on my cats. Let's get right back to where we left off, shall we? Hey, so Emma Swan's last name is Swan because when she was a little kid, teenage Pinocchio found her and gave her a copy of the book The Ugly Duckling, and she gave herself the last name Swan because she's going to grow into a beautiful swan. And they let us know that now, halfway through the last season, where Emma is a principal character. Also, if I can keep talking about The Ugly Duckling for just a second, Pinocchio says later on that he liked the story The Ugly Duckling because the duckling made itself into a swan through the pure power of belief. That's not the story of The Ugly Duckling, right? It's that he was a swan the whole time, but because he was around ducks growing up, he just looked different than the ducks because he wasn't a duck. It's not that he was a duck and then wanted to be a swan so bad he became one. It's different than the story of Pinocchio, right? Pinocchio wanted to be a real boy, became a real boy. Ugly Duckling was a swan the whole time. Why would they lie about what the Ugly Duckling is about? We all know that one, yeah? Okay, so we left our girls in the Wish Realm. Emma and Regina are on their Wish Realm road trip. How does Emma escape the Wish Realm? Well, it's a version of the Enchanted Forest. How did Emma originally leave the Enchanted Forest? A magical wardrobe made from a magical tree, of course. Princess Emma goes to find her childhood friend Pinocchio, who can replicate his late father's good work and make a portal into the real world. Also, I lied earlier when I said Killian wasn't in the Wish Realm at all. He is. Here he is. He's old and gray and drunk and destitute, here to rescue Emma for the bounty he can collect upon saving her and returning her to her son. There's a bounty placed on that by the crown. Emma just magics him to the ground and fully banishes him, so the man doesn't try to sword fight Pinocchio. Very cool Killian cameo. So happy to see him. So this is the world where Emma gets everything she could have wanted, right? This is the world formed from Emma's wish. He takes a couple pep talks, but Pinocchio does get the tree portal up and functional. They've got a way home. Where's Regina? Where's Regina? Regina is not helping with that plan. Not at all. She didn't go to meet Pinocchio. She didn't help make the portal. She went to follow Robin Hood around to see if he too is happier in a world without her. Just like how everybody else in this stupid world is happier and better off without Regina in it. So she just sits him down at a bar and asks if he's happy. And he says that he is, you know, like a liar. He doesn't have a wife or a son or a purpose. And Regina accidentally gets them arrested. And this is where she learns that this Robin is not Robin Hood, just Robin of Locksley. Just a common thief. There's no giving to the poor to be found here. Rumpelstiltskin shows up, and he springs them from prison, but he's also here to murder Regina. Because in the Wish Realm, Belle died in a tower under Regina's orders. She starved to death in a tower. So now Rumpelstiltskin has Regina and Robin, and they're going on a side road trip during this road trip arc to Rumpelstiltskin prison in the Dark One's castle. This new second prison is where Regina drops the truth that in her world, Robin is dead, but he's emboldened by the knowledge that in another world he lived a good life, and he breaks him out of prison. The Dark One's prison? That's fine. I'm sure that's a really simple, basic, non-magical prison. I might hate this season. Regina and Robin catch back up with Emma, fleeing from the Dark One, ready to jump through the tree portal. Actually, Regina is stopping to apologize for Robin for any inconvenience, prepared to leave him here in this version of the Enchanted Forest. But then he gives her a feather from an arrow, just like her Robin meant to. That feather she never received because Zelena lost it. So now, Regina 100% believes her Robin is in some way in this Robin, and it's actually Emma's idea to bring this Robin with them back home because it would make Regina happy, because Regina's lost enough in her life. So all three of them hop back through the tree, back to Storybrooke. While they were gone, Gideon is 28 years old. He was raised in the Dark Realm by the Black Fairy. Just don't worry about it, okay? The Black Fairy tried to raise Gideon to be evil, but he was too full of his mother's love. You just can't take the belle out of the boy. But Gideon is here to kill Emma Swan so he can take her savior powers into himself and use it to get back to the Black Fairy, get back to her realm, and then defeat the Black Fairy and free all the others that are still trapped in the Dark Realm. Can I say about Gideon, this man is so related to Henry Mills? Look at him. Yes, that is Henry's uncle, half-uncle. They look so related. It's amazing casting in that respect. It really brings in the reality of them all being a terrible family to me. I just really appreciate it. Gold starts scolding his son in a forest, demanding the grown man respect him and listen to him, apologizing for being unable to protect him, but in like a really antagonistic manner. It's a huge deja vu moment for me. But Gideon does not take the bait. He will not fight his dad, and he teleports away. This proves that there's good in him, I think. Returned to Maine, Emma meets Gideon.
I only know one Gideon. He looks a lot younger than you do.
Sword fight vision begins to manifest into reality. She's fighting Gideon, just like in her dreams. They're on Main Street. There's the sword with the red jewel on the hilt. Emma's family arrives, only for Gideon to freeze them with magic. But Gideon does not sword Emma. In fact, Emma gets the upper hand. The sword shatters, and she's got a shard of it in her grasp. Against the villain's throat, she has got Gideon exactly where she needs him. But then Gold starts pleading for her not to sword his kid, so Emma doesn't sword his kid, and Gideon teleports away. Belle and Gold create a tenuous peace to work together so they can help Gideon get out of this without darkening his heart or losing them their savior. And Gideon starts wailing on the clock tower, having a little tantrum. Okay, so you remember how David is freaking out about his terrible dad's mysterious death, kind of all of a sudden? Yeah, so it turns out that, Hook killed him? Uh-oh, why would Hook do that? Well, because back in Fairy Tale Land, David's father, a man named Robert, went to try and get his second son back. You remember James? Evil James? When Evil James was like 6 and not evil yet, he ran away from King George and ended up on Pleasure Island from Pinocchio. I don't know, man. Just go along with it here. And then Robert went to go get him because there was news of the prince disappearing. It seems perfect. Prince ran away. I wanted to get that kid back anyway. I miss him. Let's just go figure out where the kid is and I'll keep him after. Also, King George didn't rename the kid. Rumpelstiltskin handed him a baby and said, "This is James." And George went, "Guess he's James forever." Robert regretted selling one of his children to Rumpelstiltskin, even though at the time he really had no choice. His newborn twins were sick, and he and Ruth had no means with which to help them. Robert did find James, got him off of Pleasure Island, but King George found them before Robert could squirrel the new kid off into hiding, keep him forever, and George ordered Robert's execution, because clearly this guy cannot handle the consequences of the deal that he made. The cart that contained Robert on the way to his execution was attacked by pirates. And the pirates do not spare Robert because they don't want him to spread word of their crimes. Those pirates were Captain Hook and his crew. So Robert was already going to die. He was already slated for execution, but then Hook got to him just a little bit before the execution and killed him early. So it's Hook's fault that he's dead? Anyway, look at how good the young Ruth casting is. She looks just like old Ruth. It's crazy. So things are a little complicated back in Storybrooke because Hook is planning to propose to Emma, but he won't do it without her father's blessing. He's old-fashioned that way on account of him being 200 years old. David's not doing well. He's making literal red string conspiracy boards and hallucinating his father. So Killian agrees to help David find the truth. We'll just work together, fix whatever's happening with you, and then you will give me permission to marry my girlfriend. Yeah, Killian doesn't know the truth yet. He finds it out, though. He works out that David's dad was that guy from the royal cart thing. Awkward! And then he doesn't tell David about it. I wouldn't either. I know you're acting a bad person, okay? Show me. Throw me overboard. Killian did get David's blessing for the engagement before he realized the truth, and now he is conflicted. Also, David almost kills Albert, who used to be King George, the Storybrooke persona of King George. Killian doesn't let David kill that guy, which David is very grateful for. Also, David is doing something very fun, which is staying awake way longer than he's supposed to when he and his wife have an agreed upon sleeping and waking schedule. He's just leaving her sleeping cursed. to have little vengeance quests when it's her turn with the awake. Every time Snow is awake, she's gossiping with Regina. And he's taking that from her. Regina is trying to introduce new Robin to the concept of Storybrooke, and Zelina throws a whole fit about the idea of this new guy trying to take her daughter before the new guy even knows there is a daughter here. Like, he didn't do anything. She just has a tantrum. Robin also tries to bow and arrow the guy who used to be the sheriff of Nottingham, who I did not realize made the jump into Storybrooke. Regina can't be okay with that, right? Because the sheriff of Nottingham is the guy that her mom tried to set her up with, and that situation directly caused her to make herself forever infertile. And he's just walking around here in Storybrooke? She doesn't let Robin kill that guy. Don't worry. Robin repays this act by stealing from her. He steals a fancy box from her vault. Hook stops a guy from doing a murder he'll regret. He gets permission to ask his girlfriend's hand in marriage. Regina gets even less than she started with, literally subtracted from. So there's a whole flashback about baby Balefire. And you guys know me, okay? You know I would normally be super, super excited about that. But it sucks. Do you know how bad and pointless something about Balefire has to be for me to not even want to talk about it? We're going to talk about it, though. Don't worry. Beowulf is there. It's just after the Dark One ended the Ogre Wars by getting rid of all of the ogres. This is some old lore. We haven't talked about the Ogre Wars in a minute. Balefire and Rumpelstiltskin do a mission that accidentally convinces Balefire that dark magic is probably actually very useful and could help protect his little family and many, many others. And Rumpelstiltskin responds to that by giving his son a forgetting potion. They could have had dark magic together, but instead, the evil coward realized his perfect little boy was being corrupted by his presence and just wound his brain back a couple days instead of doing anything actually helpful. Also, we learn in this flashback that the fancy sword with the red jewel in its hilt, the one that's fated to kill the savior, is Beowulf's sword. Its name is Hunting. Very cool. Thanks, guys. The new thing they do tell me in this flashback doesn't make any goddamn sense. It is so against the Balefire that we know. Him turning and saying, actually, I think my evil dad should kill someone with his evil abilities because it'll make us stronger. That's not my boy. That is objectively the opposite of my boy. They forgot the main thing about my boy. Rumpelstiltskin in this flashback literally says they don't need to use violence. They could just move to a different village and get a fresh start. And that is Balefire's dream scenario. That is a communicative and solution-oriented dad ready to just start everything over in a place with no baggage. That is quite literally the thing he was going for the whole time. That is why he got a magic bean. That is why he ended up in New York. What are we talking about? Actually, there is one really funny thing in this flashback I do want to make sure you see, and that is when Balefire is holding the Dark One dagger and he asks the Dark One to kill Beowulf, Rumpelstiltskin tackles the 7-foot-tall man and snaps his neck. I got to assume Balefire meant with magic. Since you're the Dark One? Why'd you go in with your hands like that? Here and now in Storybrooke with Gold's new son. I was going to say new and improved, but quite frankly, this one has some things he could work on. Gideon is determined to fulfill his destiny, which means he needs to get that sword back in one piece. Emma kind of snapped it. And Gold says, hey, don't do that, actually. And he ties his kid up in the clock tower so he can tell Gideon his tragic backstory about how he became the Dark One. And Gideon looks the most unimpressed that a human can the entire time. This boy is full of nothing but love for his mother. Like Belle, like his real mother Belle. He doesn't give a shit about Gold. Eventually, Gold does untie him so they can have a civil conversation. Gideon gives some of his own tragic backstory, how he grew up in a cell under the Black Fairy's control, how she punished other boys for what she believed to be Gideon's slights. She would leave openings for him to save his friends, the other boys that she was hurting, knowing he wouldn't take them because the risk to himself was too great to teach him that he couldn't be a hero. That's so fucked up. That's so fucked up. Gold feeds his son a forgetting potion so the boy can forget all the pain and the sorrow of his past, but Gideon is immune to forgetting potions. Sure, so he steals the Dark One dagger and makes Gold tell him how to reforge hunting. To reforge hunting, you need the blue fairy. So it is the blue fairy they go to. She forged it for Beowulf, I guess. So they need her blood and her magic. And Gideon is more than happy to slice open the blue fairy on his own, but Gold would much prefer not he do it, that the Dark One does it, so that Gideon isn't darkening his heart in the process. Guys, I think we're losing the plot on how one darkens their heart. Is it literally only direct acts of violence? Is your heart not darkened at all by asking somebody else to do the act of violence? I don't know, guys. Anyway, they drain all her magic out of her. She ain't got none left, and it puts the blue fairy in a coma. And now Gideon has his sword, and then gives Gold the Dark One dagger back, which is a crazy move. That's ludicrous. You keep that. That is the #1 bargaining chip you could have in this entire town. The Dark One dagger? Captain Hook proposes to Emma Swan in the beautiful home that they share, and the whole thing is framed through Hook's guilt about Emma's dead grandfather. We don't even get to feel good about it. Like, it's this huge moment for them and their relationship, and the show wants you to be on edge the whole time. Because the conversation starts with Killian meaning to come clean about the murder thing. But Emma assumes he's nervous because he's going to propose. So she jumps the gun and says, yes. She's literally standing there, clutching the ring that she found hidden in his stuff, on the verge of tears, asking if he's mad at her because he seems so upset about the direction she has taken the conversation. She assumes he's furious that she found the ring. Like, that's not the proposal she deserves. That's not the proposal my savior deserves. Why can she not have anything? Not one nice thing. And she's so happy to be engaged. Well, Killian looks miserable. It sucks. Robin tries to team up with Zelena to leave town. He wants to blow this popsicle stand, which means he needs that protection spell about the town broken. And if the spell is broken, Zelena can leave too. They can go both be evil elsewhere. Zelena even brings along the evil queen that's currently a snake for their attempts to bring down the spell. This is what Robin stole from Regina, by the way, from her vault. It was a box of ingredients to bring the protection spell down. It doesn't work. The protection spell remains. And now Regina is all sad that new Robin wants to leave so badly. So she agrees to help him get out of this place and go live his own life. And I don't really care for this new Robin. You got to admit he has a point. This is a rough situation she has put him in. Imagine going to a new dimension and everyone is acting like they already know you, and seeing you makes them very, very sad. I would also want to leave. Yeah. The evil queen de-snakes. She found a way to get her snake mouth on the anti-magic potion Robin and Zelena made to take down the barrier. So now the evil queen is back, human-shaped, here to plot and scheme with evil Robin. There is a whole flashback just to tell us that the person Regina hates the most in the world is herself. I knew that already. Tell me something new. Oh, Regina, I cut myself in half because I couldn't stand the idea of my own complexities, Mills. Regina, I'll sacrifice myself and leave my son with the mother who won't disappoint him, Mills. That Regina Mills doesn't like herself very much. No, this is nothing. Like a flashback where it turns out Regina didn't always, every single day of her life, hate herself. That would be the real shock. A flashback of Regina having a good day. That would be the surprise. Accepting a word of praise from somebody. Bowl me right over. Great, so we don't need to talk about that flashback. Now time's in Storybrooke. Emma tells everyone about the proposal, and Snow is delighted while Regina has this reaction.
Yeah, Hook proposed. Oh, Emma. I'm happy for you. I really am. Thanks.
So Regina, that's not what being happy for someone sounds like. Do you want to maybe try another take of that? You know who isn't happy? Hook. the man who recently proposed to his girlfriend, and his girlfriend accepted that proposal, he pulls the memory of killing David's dad out of his brain into a dream catcher, if you remember how dream catchers work in this universe, and he plans to throw it into the fire, destroy it forever. And Emma catches him in the act, appalled that he thinks their relationship couldn't handle this stressor, that learning that Hook killed her grandfather 200 years ago would be the end of them. Emma calls off the engagement fully because Hook can't be honest with her, which means they are not ready to take the next step in their relationship. So Hook goes to talk to Nemo, closest thing he's got to a father figure here, very sad. And to do so, he goes aboard the Nautilus, Nemo's ship, and he considers going with Nemo away from Storybrooke to maybe take some time, some space from Emma. Maybe he doesn't deserve to stay here with her. Eventually, he decides that's dumb. He's going to go talk to his girlfriend. But hark! The sub sinks 'neath the depths without anyone asking it to. Gideon is sending it away to the enchanted forest because traveling dimensions is fun and free and easy. He's sending Hook away. That's what matters here. So now Emma, abandonment issues Swan, thinks Hook left her without another word. Honestly, chess moves from Gideon. All right, so in the space of a single episode, the evil queen finds the fate scissors, separates herself and her fate from Regina, sends Robin back to the Wish Realm, because that's where he wants to go, tries to kill Regina, breaks down after hearing Regina say that she loves herself, and the evil queen should also love herself, has half of her darkness given to Regina, and asks Henry to write her a happy ending with his author powers. The evil queen goes to the Wish Realm, where she's going to live happily ever after with evil Robin Hood. And that is not a joke. That is how they wrap up that plotline. It ends so fast. It is so... Why did we abandon the half and half approach to seasons? They refused to just divide season 6 into clean storylines the way they have done for past seasons. Season 3, the first half was in Neverland and the second half was The Wicked Witch. Season 4, the first half was Frozen and the second half... What was the second half of season 4? It was The Evil Queens, obviously. I knew that off the top of my head. Season 5, the first half was Camelot Dark Swan and the second half was Hell. Season 6... Instead of dividing their big ideas up, they established both the Evil Queen issue and the Gideon thing early on, but then they panicked because that's too much happening. So they resolved the Evil Queen thing randomly all in one episode after focusing on the Gideon thing for a little while, making it seem like the Evil Queen issue was actually kind of dumb and easy and never mattered. If we can just forget about it for a couple of weeks and then fix it all at once, it totally kills the momentum and the drama of the story, and it makes everything worse. This show might be bad, actually. Which is crazy because the bones were so good. ABC, give me the bones. I can revive them into something beautiful and horrifying. I just know it. So many things that have happened in the season and that will continue to come up in this season, they just sort of drop in and then lose any sort of focus on. And then later they have to be like, oh, yeah, that thing. We fixed it. I don't know. It's over. I didn't want to... Who put that there? They act like they are being forced to put these things in. Guys, you're writing the season of television. Okay, let's talk about what Hook is going through now that he's been sent away in the submarine. First, I have to tell you that Princess Jasmine and Ariel were friends. You know, Ariel the mermaid, the little one? Yeah, they were buddies back in the day. They did a quest together where neither of them got what they wanted in the end and nothing mattered. It was very cool. Ariel was in the desert. Jasmine agreed to marry Jafar in the past, but he only wanted to marry her so he could hold the fancy ring that he would get as a dowry, and he uses that ring to vanish Agrabah. He secretly hides Agrabah inside of that ring, which is genuinely very cool. I do like that. Jasmine doesn't know that at this moment, but that is what he did. Hey, so if this is the same Jafar as from the Wonderland spinoff, which he is on account of some genie stuff later. And Jafar was the Sultan's illegitimate child. And then Jafar drowned his dad, the Sultan, on dry land. How many sultans does Agrabah have? Or is this the same sultan? Are they siblings? That can't be right. Because everything that we see with Jasmine and the vanishing of Agrabah happens, and then Once Upon a Time in Wonderland happens. So there was a sultan through all of that. I don't know. If somebody else thinks they can explain that timeline to me, I am all ears. Okay, so Hook and the Nautilus. They can't go back to the Enchanted Forest because they need Kraken's blood to bounce from realm to realm. I guess that's just another one of those easy, fun, and free ways that you can go from realm to realm. And they don't have any. Gideon used all of it, just getting them here. Easy fix. Just go get a Kraken. And super coincidentally, they find Aladdin and Jasmine on a little rowboat. And they take them aboard. Nice! New friends. Weird that they were in the Enchanted Forest. I don't think that's the same dimension as Agrabah. I could be wrong. Hook is stoked to have Aladdin and Jasmine because they need to find Jafar, and Jafar is good at dimension hopping. He has been to many. The Nautilus can find people with revenge in their hearts, so that is how they locate Jafar with this little thing that points to somebody whose heart is full of vengeance. And if you're asking me, the thing should be pointing right at Hook. But nobody wants my 2 cents there. Uh-oh, the Nautilus crashes. It's taking on water. They're all gonna die at the bottom of the ocean, but thankfully there's a genie on board. And Jasmine just uses her second wish to transport everyone to a nearby island. Hangman's Island. Captain Nemo and Liam 2 go their own way. They do not care about the Jafar mission, and they refuse to take it on as their own. I personally think the writers just got bored of Captain Nemo and Liam 2, and they sent them away as quickly as possible. This is another example of the writers seeming to look at the things they have written and going, oh my god, who put that there? So Hook, Jasmine, and Aladdin follow their little vengeance doohickey to Jafar, but what they find is a cottage full of knickknacks and detritus and Ariel! She's got Jafar's genie lamp, the lamp Jafar was trapped in at the end of Wonderland. All the vengeance they were looking for, that they were being directed toward, was actually not directed at Aladdin or Jasmine, by the way. It was Jafar being very, very, very mad at Alice and Cyrus because of the events of Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. So Hook really lucked out with the revenge-seeking device because he had no way to know about the Alice and Cyrus thing. Team Hero is pretty sure they've got some easy leverage to force Jafar to help them here because surely Jafar doesn't want to be a genie. All right, so if he helps them out, they will promise to help him break the genie curse, let him free. Easy peasy. Apparently, while he was trapped in there, Jafar figured out how to break a genie curse with no components or research material, so when they rub the lamp, he appears a free and complete sorcerer. No genie here.
Son of a fish. He broke the genie spell.
Jasmine turns Jafar into a walking stick with some magic powder that Ariel has just lying around. Jafar solved. No more Jafar. Jesus Christ. And then, Jasmine uses True Love's Kiss to break Aladdin's genie curse. No. No. That's not how that works. True Love's Kiss doesn't do that one. It doesn't work on that one. You will not besmirch my girls, Anastasia or Alice, in this way. They did not watch their true love suffer under the genie curse just for you to do this now. No! Are you trying to say my girls just didn't try hard enough? Are you trying to say their true love just wasn't true enough for the genie curse? No. I don't think so. No more genie curse. No more genies, and Agrabah springs forth from the ring. Jasmine and Aladdin, both solved. Who cares anyway? They're gone now. Literally can't even be mad that Jasmine walks off saying, "Let me show you my world." Because I'm too mad about everything else. Ariel gives Hook a seashell that he can use to tell Emma that he will return to her. And he speaks his reassurances into it, swearing he never meant to leave her like this. Speaking of Emma Swan, Emma tells David about the whole Hook killed your dad thing, and it goes surprisingly well. Regina bullies David into going to sleep so that Snow can go to a pub with her and Emma to make Emma feel better, and they hit up Aesop's tables, the best thing I've heard from this show all season. Emma starts telling all of her woes to the bartender, Aesop, with the fables. Emma does this while her mother is drunkenly challenging a group of actual Vikings to knife throwing. Why are there Vikings here? It doesn't matter. We've got to get Snow White drunk more often. She gets fun.
I have a toddler and a sleeping curse at home. I need this.
Misery me company.
But, twist! The bartender isn't Aesop of the Fables. It's Gideon in disguise. And he steals the napkin that Emma was crying into to harvest her tears for magic. Using Emma's tears, Gideon can do a spell that makes it impossible for Hook to return to Storybrooke since they're true loves. And he won't lift the spell until Emma helps Gideon kill the Black Fairy. Hey, my man, she would have done that anyway. If anything, you are hurting your cause crazy style right now. Just be her friend. She does insane things for her friends. Emma does hear Hook's call from the seashell, too, so that's good. Now she's just confused and angry, but in different ways than before. Deeply random, but we do see an establishing shot that someone in town owns a powder blue and white vintage Volkswagen bus. Who owns that? This is important to me. Who has the VW bus? Is it Nova? Is it? Actually, I can't think of any alive characters who would drive that. I wanted to say Felix, but he is not around anymore. But I'll tell you what, the Lost Boys would fuck up a VW bus. Also, Regina is so cute this episode, by the way. She's trying to be so helpful and make Emma talk about her feelings, learning firsthand how pointless that is.
I'm open. Hook left. It sucks. How do you feel?
Like it sucks.
Right.
Regina needs to break that sleeping curse on the Charmings, and Henry wants to help. Of course he does. Such a helpful young man, her most bestest specialist boy. Henry takes notes about what Regina needs to help make her potions, but he quickly becomes possessed. The boy's in a fugue state, controlled by the spirit of the author itself, drawing weird little squiggles and runes that he cannot translate. Regina has no idea why this happened, and neither does Henry. Who would know? Well, Isaac, the previous author. I don't even have him up on the board right now, and I don't feel like finding him. I don't like him. Isaac's been in mental health hospital jail for a good long minute now. Just him and his tiny padded cell and his typewriter. Isaac claims that he does know what is happening. He's heard of this phenomenon before, but he has conditions that need to be met. A short, easy list of things he requires.
Freedom, sports car, Big Apple. And since you're making this so difficult, Hamilton tickets.
Regina does not want to give Isaac the time of day. Can't blame her for that one, but Isaac tells them that Henry's author powers are starting to overcome him, that the author is stronger than Henry and will eventually drive him mad or tear him apart, unless Regina gives Isaac what he wants and he can tell them how to stop it. Regina gets Isaac a car that is not a sports car, and Isaac complains about it, but he's gonna leave town anyway. Isaac tells them to look at Henry's Once Upon a Time book of fairy tales, prompting Henry to realize that they are in the final chapter. The end of the story, time for the final battle. So he doesn't tell them anything about how to help Henry. He's actually the least helpful man alive. Still the same old Isaac. Emma is not involved in the Henry author situation here. She is busy because Belle and Gold are pleading with her to not kill their special baby boy. They are swearing that Gideon could be swayed to the side of good with just a little bit of patience and time, and Emma understands their desperation. She knows exactly where they're coming from as parents, so she approaches Gideon in the clock tower, where he is brooding over his copy of Her Handsome Hero, that book that Belle gave him. After a quick pep talk from Emma, Gideon hands over hunting and gives Emma the materials to create a portal that will get Hook back. It is very, very easy to do, and he does it so quickly. They go to the Sorcerer's Mansion from previous seasons, and Emma and Gideon do a magic spell by the magic door that they've used to send people home to their original dimensions before. Elsa and Anna went back to Frozen Town through that door. Little John and Roland went back to Sherwood Forest through that door. Because once again, traveling realms is easy and fun for the whole family. But before Emma can even cast the spell on the door, a giant spider busts through and attacks them. The Black Fairy has sensed what they're doing, and now there's a spider loose in the mansion. Also, actually, it was Gideon that brought the spider over. He summoned it so that it could get Emma big time. It was all a lie. Gideon takes the sword back and runs off because that sword is what Gideon needs to open a portal to the Black Fairy. You remember the evil woman that kidnapped him and tortured him his entire life? He's here to kill her, to get to her dimension and to kill her and save everybody that was trapped in the Dark Realm with her. No, it was all a lie. He isn't here to kill her at all. He slashes a portal open in the clock tower saying, "It's time, Mother." He brings the Black Fairy into Storybrooke, and she is so proud of her son. She calls him her son. He's her grandson, but I guess she's always wanted a son. Why would Gideon do this? Is it because he's been warped by decades of brainwashing and complicated torment and an unsettling and unpredictable upbringing? Is it about the threads of darkness and destiny that he couldn't escape in his bloodline? Is it nature versus nurture versus magic versus fate? No, it's not. Gideon tried to escape his circumstances back in the Dark Realm where the Black Fairy is tethered. That's why he had to get her over here. But he was found out. His friend and accomplice was turned into a bug with dark fairy dust and squished to death, and the Black Fairy took his heart and has been using it to control his actions ever since. She has been puppeting him this whole time. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that fun? Are you not entertained? Doesn't everything feel so connected and intricately woven? Black Fairy is here. She's going to rampage through Maine. Gold saves Emma, by the way. She doesn't die to a spider. I know you were worried. Captain Hook doesn't know that he can't go back to Storybrooke, so he gets himself a magic bean from Captain Blackbeard, because magic beans are everywhere, and we all have them. But it takes the two pirates to Neverland instead of Maine, because of the Gideon curse. I hate when that happens. Hook meets Tiger Lily there? Like from Peter Pan? There's too much going on. I cannot distract you with Hook's shit right now. It doesn't matter. He's just busy, okay? There's so much here, and none of it means anything! Guys, if you didn't want to write a season of television, you didn't have to. Nobody was forcing you to do it. Okay, so, like 20 years ago, when the Dark Curse had been going for 10 years, Mary Margaret, Cursona Mary Margaret, brought a pretty pink flower that she found to her favorite comatose John Doe. You'll recall that Charming spent his curse years comatose. Mary Margaret did not know it at the time, but the pink flower was magic, and it woke David up. And since his curse effects never settled right due to the coma, he remembered everything about the Enchanted Forest. And then, through true love's holding hands, so does Snow White. I am not joking. He holds her hand, and she remembers everything. David goes to ask Rumpelstiltskin what happened to Emma while Snow throws Regina off David's tail, and Gold is actually still under the curse until David mentions the name Emma, because remember, that was the Dark One's trigger phrase. So no one has ever said the name Emma around Gold in 10 years. It's actually forbidden in Storybrooke. Snow and David plan to go find Emma, but Gold stops them because Emma is only 10 years old. She's 18 years too young to be the savior that they will someday need. Snow and David could go to her. The three of them could live happily ever after, but it would doom the whole town, maybe eventually even the whole world. And Gold offers them, you'll never guess, a forgetting potion. They make the excruciating decision to leave Emma where she is and allow fate to progress as necessary, putting everyone else ahead of themselves the charming way. Most of the time, except for that one time with the dragon egg, where they were monsters for no reason. They forgetting potion themselves. Charming is back in his coma. Snow is marrying Margaret again. I just truly don't think that's how forgetting potions work. But literally, what do I know? No, you know what? I do know this. You can't forget your way into being cursed again. That's nothing. You can't forget your way into being comatose again. You just forgot that the curse broke on you? I don't think that's how that works at all. I think that's dumb. I think that's stupid. Also, Gold forgetting potions himself as well, even though, why? Why? But that was 18 to 20 years ago. In the now times, David and Snow both decide, one at a time when they're awake, that whatever Regina has to do to end their joint sleeping curse, she needs to do it now. Final battle approaching, Emma is going to need all the reinforcements she can get. They want her to have both her parents. But the spell that Regina tries backfires. Instead of weakening the curse on the heart, it weakens the shared charming heart, and they will soon both be asleep if a better cure is not found. The better cure comes in the form of pixie petals, magic pink flowers that form whenever massive evil is nearby. And since the black fairy's in town, magic flowers have started growing. Sure. Okay. Dust from the magic flowers can reunite anybody who's in true love, which is how true love holding hands woke Snow up forever ago, because it was a magic flower from being around evil. In the charming apartment, holding on to a magic pink flower, Emma is approached by a shadow, a familiar shadow, with a hook for a hand. It's her pirate, kind of. It's his shadow delivering a metal hook and a piece of driftwood, and then vanishing. Ominous. Now she's going to have to use the magic flower dust to go get Hook, but there's only one magic flower. If she does this, they won't have any magic flower dust to save her parents. Snow insists she use the dust to go get Hook. Snow is going to make Emma put herself first here. The charming way, baby. Self-sacrifice every day, baby. Except for that one time with the dragon egg. What was that about? The magic flower pulls Hook back to Emma. It doesn't bring Tiger Lily with, because who needs Tiger Lily anyway? Why is Tiger Lily in this show? I didn't even print her out to put her on the board, because I don't understand why she's here. The piece of driftwood that the shadow brought to Emma was a gift from Tiger Lily. It's a weapon that Emma needs. It's half of a wand that Emma needs to defeat the Dark Fairy. Hook proposes for real and for actual, like a real nice proposal, except he starts it by calling her Swan. And if there was ever a time to go first name or full name, it is now, I think. It is better than the first try. So the Charmings are just sleeping cursed forever then? Nope. They fix it. And it's the stupidest thing the show has ever done yet. They keep topping themselves, and I keep losing my mind. It's not even stupid fun way. The whole town gathers and drinks from a cup of sleeping curse, splitting the curse amongst the entire population of Storybrooke, diluting it so much that it doesn't matter anymore, and everyone is just a teensy tiny bit sleeping cursed all the time. I guess, does one person from Storybrooke always have to be asleep? They don't say that's how it works, but there has to be some downside to it here. We're all sharing the sleeping curse, right? So one of us has to be asleep at all times. Do we have to kiss him to wake him up after? Or are we all just fine? We just diluted it so much that it's not real? And that's how magic works? You can just thin it out so much that it's gone? Also, David immediately forgives Hook for killing his dad. Their first interaction post-discovery, and they're fine. So what was the point of it? Since there's a new bad guy in town, there's a new person trying to recruit Zelena by teleporting into her house. Hello? The Black Fairy appears and just starts carrying around baby Robin and offering an alliance with Zelena and low-key threatening her baby. Selena doesn't want to take her up on it, mostly because of the threatening her baby, so the Black Fairy tells her to meet her down in the mines if she ever changes her tune. Across town, Snow White interrupts her daughter and future son-in-law while they are starting something.
Maybe I should come back after you've had pancakes.
Don't worry, I've lost my appetite. I have to go and have a quick embracing shower.
She just wants to help with the wedding planning. She's so excited. Even after she learns about the Black Fairy trying to recruit Zelena, and here's the evil magic sisters have a full freak out fight in front of her, she's in wedding planning mode. Zelena brings little Robin to Belle for babysitting. Belle's in a great mood. She found out her son isn't actually evil. He's just being puppeted. Her evil husband is being helpful and useful. She gets to hang out with a baby. Oh, it's a great day for Belle. Zelena is going to try and confront the Black Fairy all on her own, even after everyone told her not to. Tries to stop Zelena down in the mines. They argue again about if it's fair to blame Zelena for the Robin Hood thing. It is still, but fine if we need to keep fighting about it. Go ahead. Zelena yells about how she doesn't need these people to like her. She's going to take out the Black Fairy anyway, because she wants to. The Black Fairy finds them down there, because she was in the mines anyway. You walked into her house and started fighting really loud, not thinking she was going to hear you and do something about it. Okay. She comes in and she mocks Regina for how poorly she cast the dark curse, because it was the Black Fairy's curse originally, by the way. So if you're keeping track, the Black Fairy made it, and then Rumpelstiltskin had it, and then Maleficent had it, and then Regina? Am I remembering that right? Zelena chases the Black Fairy down, hits her with angry green magic beams, which was the Black Fairy's plan all along. The Black Fairy needed some unstable dark magic to channel into the fairy crystals down here in the mines so she can use them for final battle purposes. Yes, this is the first time we've heard about fairy crystals in the mines. Of course. The Black Fairy has turned the fairy crystals dark so she can have dark fairy dust, which I believe we have only seen used to turn people into bugs so far multiple times over multiple seasons. But I guess she also needs it to start the final battle, and I don't think she's going to turn people into bugs, which is disappointing to me. Regina's pretty mad about all of this and tells Zelena to just fuck off back to Oz. She doesn't say it like that, but Zelena does decide to go back to Oz. No one likes her here anyway. It doesn't make sense for her to stay. She can start a new life for her and her daughter away from all his baggage. And then she changes her mind again and decides to stay. And also use a special little artifact that she has to sacrifice all of her own magic to restore the fairy crystals in the mines to how they were before the Black Fairy channeled into them, making fairy crystals available to Team Hero. And they use the fairy crystal to wake up the blue fairy from her magic coma. From when Golden Gideon drained all her magic out to reforge Haunting. You remember? Zelena is powerless. No more magic. Maybe she'll be less of a problem all the time. Also, Regina teaches Zelena how to drive. Sisterly bonding. Listen, when you teleport around all the time and suddenly you can't, that's gotta be really upsetting. Yes, teach her how to drive. Henry is desperately trying to use his author powers to write a happy ending for his mom, but everything he's trying to keep Emma from fighting the final battle isn't working. So he moves his efforts to trying to translate all those squiggles he wrote while possessed, and that also isn't working. He's driving himself mad about it, frantic, trying to save the world and trying to save his mom, until his grandfather, Prince Charming, walks in and asks if Henry wants to help look at wedding venues. Hey, man, even if he wasn't freaking out and trying to be a hero right now, this is a 13-year-old boy. He does not want to look at wedding venues for his mom. Hook does ask Henry to be his best man, though, which is cute, but also who else would he ask? Hook does not have any friends. All right, fairy nonsense, though. The Black Fairy is furious that the Blue Fairy is going to be awake because the Blue Fairy knows her darkest secret. The truth of her past and the truth of why she abandoned her son. Before she was the Black Fairy, she was a woman named Fiona. She had a son with her husband Malcolm, a beautiful baby boy that she just did not name. just did not name for the first long amount of this child's life, like the first couple months of this child's life. And her son had a fairy godmother, Tiger Lily, from Peter Pan. We can't think about that. We just have to go with it. Tiger Lily and the Blue Fairy both appear to Fiona on the evening of her son's birth to tell her that her son was prophesized. Tonight, the Savior was born. Yup. Yup. Fiona soon learns how the Savior prophecy ends. A final battle, a great evil that will kill the Savior, a great evil that is prophesied to be born this same winter as her son, with a crescent moon scar that will make it clear who that evil is. She's been doing a lot of reading and a lot of research. In her reading, Fiona figures out a way to turn herself into a fairy so that she can be the one that will protect her son. She does not trust anyone else to do it. Fiona and Tiger Lily are now going to be a little duo, going and looking at every single baby born that winter, searching for a scar. And they don't find it. Fiona's kind of a magic prodigy. You're not supposed to just be able to turn yourself into a fairy. That's not supposed to be an option. There's not just like a spell for that laying around. So she can do all kinds of new magic. She creates the Dark Curse. Fiona creates the Dark Curse so that she can protect her son. It will banish whoever is meant to destroy him to a land without magic. And obviously, it will send away a lot of people. I think her plan is just to send away every baby born that winter. Kind of unclear. It seems like that's the direction she's going. And yeah, so that's more people than need to be banished, but it's the only way to be 100% certain that they are getting the right person as well. Tiger Lily says you are not allowed to do that. Your kid is gonna have to die for the greater good. That's the prophecy. Fiona prepares to kill Tiger Lily, to crush her heart, and this turns Fiona dark instantly. She doesn't even have to do it. She doesn't even have to go through with it and kill a person. She just has to want to and be ready to do it. And then she transforms into the Black Fairy and burns a crescent moon into her wrist. She's the great evil. She is the one fated to kill her son. So that is the Black Fairy's backstory. Great. In Storybrooke, the Blue Fairy wakes up just enough to tell them that that piece of driftwood that Hook got, that half of the wand, the other half is at the center of Storybrooke. And they need to find it and put the wand back together, and that will be the weapon that kills the Dark Fairy, all right? The Black Fairy kidnaps the Blue Fairy before she can say anything else. And Gold kidnaps Gideon. There he is. And cuffs him with that old anti-magic bracelet. Snow, Regina, David, and Hook go look for the wand, and Gold and Emma look for Gideon's secrets to figure out where his heart is hidden. Gold magic dusts himself and Emma into Gideon's dreams, the sands of Morpheus from earlier this season. Oh my god, something came back. Something was relevant more than once. Something was set up many episodes ago. It's a beautiful thing. Gold only brings Emma along on this mission so she doesn't go do anything stupid like killing the Black Fairy before Gideon's heart is safe and sound. He does not trust hero instincts for a single second. Also, he accidentally put them all into his dream instead of Gideon's. Mr. Gold would be very bad at Inception. I guess he did do an Inception earlier this season. He would be very bad at the dream crime element of the movie perfect film Inception 2010, directed by Christopher Nolan. They do find Gideon in there, though, sweet and happy to see his dad, freed from the Black Fairy's influence, as this is a dream world. And I guess your heart isn't in the dreams? But Gideon doesn't know where the Black Fairy has his heart hidden away. It's not just that he didn't want to tell him earlier or couldn't because of how his heart was controlled. He literally has no idea. He cannot help them find it. But Gideon can help direct Gold to the truth, to learn why his mother gave him up. And the three of them watch Fiona's memories and learn about that backstory while they're in Gold's brain. So Gold's brain already has Fiona's memory. Whatever. They watch them. Hook, the Charmings, and Regina figure out pretty fast that when the Blue Fairy said the center of Storybrooke, she didn't mean the geographical center in the clock tower. She meant the emotional center of Storybrooke. So the other half of the secret evil wand is at Granny's. That was correct. That's the emotional center of Storybrooke. It is under the jukebox. Before they can actually put the wand back together, suddenly everyone is doubting whether or not Regina is secretly the Black Fairy in disguise, tricking them all.
How do we know you're not the Black Fairy?
Because I am.
Right. Sorry I doubted you, love.
Regina and the Black Fairy fight in the street until Zelina hits the Black Fairy with her car. Genuinely made me laugh out loud. That's the most excited I've been to see Zelina since her introduction. Okay, so Emma is not the savior that's supposed to fight the Black Fairy? It's Gold? Belle is overjoyed because this means she was right. Secretly, Gold has been good the whole time. It's like, Belle, honey, let's use our brain and our experiences, huh? Gold confronts his mother alone that night, facing her in the park. He tells her that he knows the truth. Knows he was meant to be the savior that would take her down, and that is why she abandoned him, because she was afraid. She didn't want to die. The Black Fairy tells him, nice try, idiot. But you didn't see all the memories to the end. Actually, Gold isn't a savior. He was when he was born. But after Fiona went dark, Blue and Tiger Lily begged her to take the shears of destiny. You remember the fate scissors? Oh my God, things are coming back. To take the shears of destiny and cut her own strings of fate so she would not be the great evil destined to end her son. Now, that does not mean there would not be a great evil destined to end her son, because her son would still be the savior, but it wouldn't be Fiona. Fiona did not do that. Surprise. She took the scissors and cut the strings from her son instead, removing him from his destiny, but not sacrificing any of her own power. This angered Blue to the point that she banished Fiona to the Dark Realm, sending her away from her child. Fiona went, promising that she would spend every day trying to get back to her boy. So she never actually abandoned Gold. This was all Blue's fault. And you know what? Somehow, in the back of my mind, I've always known in this household, we do not respect the Blue Fairy. Also, Blue and Tiger Lily then bring the baby to Malcolm, the father, and they watch Malcolm immediately blame the baby for his wife's death and bitterly name the child Rumpelstiltskin out of pure disrespect, like to be mean, like he names him Rumpelstiltskin because it's a mean thing to name a kid. And then they just let Malcolm keep the kid. No arguments, no parenting classes, no tips, no rehoming to somewhere nicer. Very cool, guys. Fairies are definitely here to protect children. That's what I think. Now that Gold knows this about his mother, Fiona asks for Gold's forgiveness so they can finally be a family, a real family, just like they've both always wanted. Mr. Gold does a lie to Team Hero. He tells them all that he banished the Black Fairy. They'll never have to worry about her again, and they are all so happy. Emma and Hook are going to get married without having to worry about the Black Fairy hanging over their head. Gideon's life can finally be good. Belle can finally have her son. However, over here in Reality Land, where Mr. Gold makes bad choices like he always has, Gold made a deal with Fiona. He will get Gideon's heart so that she can no longer control the kid. And in return, he will allow the Black Fairy to start the final battle with no opposition. None from him, none from anybody else, because they're certainly not looking for her now. They're not on her trail. They think she's gone. Fiona promises a happy ending for their family when she kills the savior on her wedding day. Tomorrow. Her wedding is tomorrow. And you know what else is tomorrow? The musical episode. Sorry, what? And it's not just the musical episode, it's also the last episode before the 2-part finale of season 6. And also Emma and Hook's wedding. I'll say it. I love the musical episode. I think it's so fun. Now, personally, if I was doing a musical episode of a television show, I would probably make it maybe in the middle of a season, probably a little bit of a filler episode, a little bit of a buffer, just a time where we can all relax and have some fun. I probably wouldn't do it the episode before the 2-part season finale, that is the last season in which my main character is the principal main character, and also the lead's wedding. I just feel like a musical episode is always going to feel semi-canonical. It's always going to feel a little bit off, even though this one very much is canonical. I love it! You'll notice the whiteboard changed. This is me trusting that you know who all the characters are at this point. And instead, I will be ranking all 8 of the musical numbers that appear in this song. I will be describing them to you in chronological order as they appear in episode, but we will rank them as they come. You understand! Guys, I've never worn a veil before. I don't actually know how this is supposed to sit. But I feel like when it's over my face, I kind of look like a ghost. And I'm not really going for spooky vibes. How does my hair look? I genuinely haven't seen it. Can you even see it with the veil and the comb? I can't see the back of my own head. It is the morning of Emma Swan's wedding, and she is trying to decide between 2 wedding dresses. That's right, she hasn't picked one yet. Standing there trying to decide between these 2 options when her mother offers her the chance of a lifetime. Emma could wear Snow White's wedding dress. She just found it in the back of Gold's pawn shop. You know, the one with all the feathers? Can you think of anything less Emma Swan's style? Because I cannot. Emma is ecstatic about this opportunity for whatever reason, but it's ruined. The Black Fairy appears, revealing to everyone that Gold has in fact deceived them once more. And then she magics Snow White's wedding dress to be black. Just to be annoying. So Emma doesn't have a dress unless she doesn't want to wear white. And she does want to wear white, so this is a problem. And the dark curse is going to be unleashed at 6 p.m. tonight, the same time as Emma's wedding. It's all falling apart. Is there anything else we can do to stop the dark curse? Doesn't seem like it. We will simply have a wedding. But first, we must go to the past. In the enchanted forest, just after the Charmings learned of what would become of their daughter, of her inevitable fate, of the dark curse. They just learned it from Rumpelstiltskin. Snow White is distressed. She wishes upon a star for the chance to give her doomed daughter a happy ending. And in the morning, when her and Charming awake, they're singing.
'Cause love is the most powerful magic of all.
The song is called Powerful Magic, and it has been stuck in my head for a full week. I want it gone! This song is just Snow and Charming learning that they have been afflicted with this singing disease, and that it is probably the key to defeating the evil queen, because love is the most powerful magic at all. There's a powerful magic when 2 hearts are one, a powerful magic as bright as the sun. I need this song to leave me. I need it to go. I do really like that this song sets up that they are not half-assing this musical episode. There are dancers. The actors are the ones singing. There's a good energy to it. Everybody's having a great time, me included. You know who's not excited about the singing disease?
Oh, great, you're singing too. This whole thing is deranged.
I don't like this song. There's just not much to it. Not a lot happens. There's some cute snippets of everyone else in the kingdom having fun and singing little ditties while Regina's pouting. And they did get Giancarlo Esposito to come back to sing 2 lines as the magic mirror. How much did they pay him for that? The whole thing is just kind of flat and like way, way down in Lana Perilla's register. And it's fine. So we shift rapidly from the worst song on the list to...
Down with love, down with hope, don't need blind faith to cope, or inspiring songs in my heart.
Love doesn't stand a chance. This song's got it all. Regina dancing energetically all alone. Little vignettes of her terrorizing the other fairy tale characters. Regina dancing around in her evil queen fits. It's a huge day for Regina heads. Also, this lyric took me out.
Now that little bitch will wish she never ever knew me.
She just says it so venomously. Like, I think they have sworn before on this show, but it never really, like, hit me that they were swearing. This song is great. This song is so good. I love a villain song every time, so to just have Regina outwardly and proudly singing that she hates the concept of love and prefers her dark evil deeds over a really, really peppy tune. Yeah. Yeah. Regina wants to figure out where the singing disease came from, so she goes to the obvious culprit in her mind, the Dark One, hiding down in the Charming's cellar still, and they tease us with a Dark One song. And then Rumpelstiltskin hits us with, "You think the Dark One sings?" I think he could. I think his song would be fun. Sorry, you hate fun. So, yeah, Rumpelstiltskin doesn't sing at all. Just like the fan-made Once Upon a Time musical parody. I have covered the Once Upon a Time musical parody, by the way. It's on my Patreon. It was January's video. And I'm going to say something controversial. The official musical is better. It's better in every way. Not to diss the Once Upon a Time fan-made musical parody. I love when people are passionate and they make stuff. But Regina's trying to get answers from Rumpelstiltskin. She's failing. The Charmings need to get to the Evil Queen's castle to go confront her and fight her right now. Right now, now that they have the power of song in their hearts. We don't know how long it's going to last. We don't have that much time. The baby is already in the Snow White. We gotta get to the Evil Queen, so they go to a tavern to try and commission themselves a ship to get to the Evil Queen. Are you seeing where this is going? They need a ship to get to the Evil Queen. Yeah. Revenge is gonna be mine.
Revenge is gonna be mine.
I really, really like this song. It's very fun. I love Hook's background chorus of pirates. This song has absolutely gotten stuck in my head. It's just recently been ousted by powerful magic. It's a very Christian Borle part, if this was a Broadway musical. Does that make sense? Hook would be played by Christian Borle. But, why is Hook here, though? That doesn't make any sense. Is he not super in Neverland right now? The Dark Curse is just months away. Also, Hook never met the Charmings. We know Hook never met the Charmings. In the time travel adventure, in the 2-part finale of season 3, he and Emma work very hard to make sure that Snow doesn't see his identity. He never met the Charmings. And I wouldn't care about these things in a musical episode, okay? If it wasn't the episode right before the big finale and taking place during the lead's wedding. It's an important episode. You're gonna break canon? Don't. The Charmings offer Hook a bunch of money to take them to the Evil Queen. He says, "I want money, idiot. I want to kill a crocodile. No amount of money could get me that." And the Charmings are like, "Actually, that guy's in our basement. So if you do this for us, we can sick you on the guy in our basement." Yes, the Charmings agree to let Hook kill Rumpelstiltskin in exchange for a single boat ride. That doesn't sit right on their moral compass, I don't think, to me. But it doesn't happen, right? So who cares? You know which fairy tale character hasn't gotten a song yet? My favorite one.
Oh, evil may be powerful, the wicked always wins.
Now, I ask the same thing about this song that I could ask about Revenge is Gonna Be Mine. Why are you here, song? What do you mean by this? It has the same issue as Revenge in that it tells us nothing new about a character and also doesn't really further the plot, which are normally the two purposes of a song in a musical. But if I wasn't mad about Revenge for that purpose, I legally can't be mad now for Zelina. The song is fine. The whole song is about how evil may be powerful, but wicked always wins. Regina is weak, and Zelina is strong, and Regina can't stop the curse, the singing disease. But maybe Zelina could. She sends a magical artifact to Regina's vaults that could capture everybody's songs in their hearts. Sure. I know that sounds like it's furthering the plot. I cannot stress enough that most of the song is not about that. It is just her singing that wicked always wins. And we've heard her say that a lot of times. Snow and Charming got their boat ride to the evil queen, and it's time for a confrontation.
There's a powerful magic when two hearts are one.
This is just powerful magic and love doesn't stand a chance mashed together. And I honestly don't like how they fit together. They don't do it very seamlessly. But I will say that watching Regina just angrily dance in front of the Charmings, it's very funny. It's very good. Regina uses the little artifact that Selena sent over through time and space. She doesn't know Selena did that. She just found the thing and went, wow, convenient. And she ends the song disease and has stolen the songs from everybody. They live in the little artifact now. Nobody gets a song in their heart. Not while Regina is president of Fairy Town. The Blue Fairy appears to the Charmings to let them know that they're gonna forget that they were ever singing at all. Now that it's over, tomorrow, you guys will never remember it happened. And it's to keep the songs safe for later so that Emma can have them. Snow wished upon a star for a chance to give her daughter a happy ending, and there was a singing curse, and that means that the songs now live in Emma's heart, and they have the whole time, all 6 seasons. Emma's had a song in there. So now, in Storybrooke, there's secretly songs in Emma. It happened the whole time. But she tries to confront the Black Fairy and say, hey, let's get this over with, okay? Maybe I'll just kill you right now. And the Black Fairy says, no, I have your whole family frozen with magic. And here they are. Emma knows that she can't just straight up win against the Black Fairy. She knows that that's not going to happen. So instead, she just offers her heart to the woman. Says, let's get it over with. You can kill me, and then you'll let my family go, and we'll be done. No more final battle. We don't need it. Let's just be done. But when the Black Fairy gets Emma's heart in her hand, she can't crush it into sand. It's too strong. It's too full of song.
The answer was inside me with a song.
This song kind of sounds like Emma's making it up as she goes, which is a shame because I really wanted to like it. I like Emma. I like when Emma's got big moments in the story and some agency and is doing something interesting. I wanted her to have a big moment and to like it. But alas, the Black Fairy just watches Emma do this, powerless to stop the Savior from unfreezing all her loved ones and singing about how the real power is love and is within her and how she's never been alone because this song from her parents has always been inside of her heart. She's just never known it. But the power has always been there. So the Black Fairy leaves. And it's time for the wedding. They're getting married on a rooftop. And Emma is wearing a brand new dress that is not one of the options she was looking at earlier in the episode and is also not her mom's old dress, but black. I could not tell you where she got this new dress from. Magic, maybe? Emma Swan's wedding dress is very controversial to Once Upon a Time watchers. It's a gorgeous dress, and Jennifer Morrison, Emma's actress, picked it out herself because she loved it. And I also love the dress. I love the lace, I love the bustle, I love the sleeves and the collar, but I also think all the things that I love about it are things that do not feel Emma Swan to me at all. I think the worst part of it is the headpiece. Honestly, that's what throws me off the most. If they styled this differently, I don't think so many people would hate it for her. I don't know if they were ever going to get everybody on their team with this choice. It's a gorgeous dress, though. Weird choice for this specific character. Beautiful dress. Their vows are very cute, very sweet, and they end with Hook dipping his new bride and proclaiming she has finally gotten her happy ending. No, she disagrees. This is a happy beginning. Hey, who are all these fucking strangers at Emma's wedding? Where are all of my friends? Where's Dr. Whale? Where's Ashley Boyd? There's no Belle here. Archie's officiating, and we got a dwarf conga line, which I appreciate. Geppetto and Granny are here. Granny's babysitting Neil, just like she literally always is. But who are these other people? Such a sucker for a dance-heavy ensemble number, though! I was grinning through so much of this song. I like how all of our characters get one solo line to sing. It's very cute. It is very finale of a musical. And obviously we needed all those strangers there so that we had dancers for this number. And I get that. I do. And I wouldn't hate that they were there if all of my friends were present. The song ends with an ominous sight. The dark curse swirling towards them, here to take them all to futures unknown, into the 2-part finale special. And they are all overtaken in an instant. So, they've all been dark cursed. What does that mean this time? Henry Mills wakes up alone on the rooftop. Same rooftop he was just on for the wedding, but now it's just him with that Once Upon a Time book of fairy tales tucked under his arm. It's not like last season when Henry woke up alone. There's still people in Storybrooke. Doesn't stop him from walking down the middle of the street where the cars are. Henry! Henry runs to catch Archie to ask what the Black Fairy's curse did, and Archie, very concerned, asks if Henry is doing all of this again, and lets him know that Emma is in a mental institution. Not mental hospital, jail. She's like painting and stuff. The dark curse has improved the mental health facilities of Storybrooke. Henry visits his mother, asking where Snow and David and Hook are, but Emma scolds him for trying to undo her progress, as she insists there is no curse. There has never been a curse. So this is kind of a timeline where Emma just didn't break the curse. If you'll recall, in season 1 of Once Upon a Time, Henry Mills' big play to get Emma to really believe is that he ate the poisoned apple turnover that Regina made that was meant for Emma. Henry ate it, he went into sleeping curse, and then she broke him out of it with True Love's kiss. You remember this? You remember this. In this universe, when Henry tried to break the curse by eating the poison apple turnover, he just was hospitalized and sick for weeks because he ate poison. But it wasn't magic. After that, Emma stopped believing Henry, never became the savior, and that's not even the worst part.
You have to stop doing that or your mother's not gonna let you keep visiting me.
Regina, she's here.
Who's Regina?
Yeah, Fiona, the Black Fairy, is the mayor and Henry's adoptive mother. This is the real nightmare dimension where Emma's never met Regina. Regina doesn't live here. We'll get to where she actually is in a second. But what Fiona needs from Emma, from her savior, from her final opponent, is she needs Emma to burn that book of fairy tales to show Henry that she's fully turned away from believing in silly stories. But Emma can't do it, because it means too much to her beautiful boy. Even though Fiona is promising Emma can leave the institution, she can go back to Boston, back to her real life that she loved and that she misses, Emma still has a shred of belief and too much love for Henry Mills. And I get that. The real final battle is no war. It's not about stabbing, even though all we've seen all season are Emma's premonitions about how she's gonna get stabbed in the middle of the street by a hooded figure and that's her final end and that's the final battle. That's not what it is. Idiot, you thought that's what it was? You believed what we were telling you all season? Stupid. It's about the savior's belief. It's a battle for Emma's belief. I don't even address the outfit change. I work at the pawn shop now. It's my first day today. I'm very nervous. I've heard the boss turns people into bugs. He doesn't turn people into bugs. He turned a guy into a snail once. I don't think he's ever turned anyone into bug. I heard the boss turns guys into snails. So Emma and Henry are having a weird time in Storybrooke with pretty much everybody else in Storybrooke, right? Geppetto's still there. Archie is still there. The dwarves are still there. We see them all. They're just kind of living in this timeline brain where the curse was never broken and everything's just been Cursona mode the whole time. Except Snow, David, Hook, Regina, Zelina, and baby Neil. are all sent away. Snow, David, Hook, Regina, and baby Neil are dark cursed back to the enchanted forest, to the Charming's palace. Zelina was dark cursed back to Oz. Not that she stays in Oz for long, because almost immediately after the Charmings and co. wake up in their castle, Zelina and a handful of Ozians show up with, the Mad Hatter's hat?
What? Wasn't it destroyed? He was a hatter. He had multiples.
I don't even know what to say about that. I don't. That's one of the most egregious and insulting things I have ever been shown on a television screen. What do you mean he had multiples? What do you mean by that? Jefferson just had so many magic hats? And that's why it was such a big deal? When he didn't have the first one anymore and he went absolutely crazy trying to make a new one? He had so many hats, and that's why he held on to the hat so fiercely in Storybrooke? To try and get Emma to make his one fucking hat work? He had... Not only did he have multiple hats, one of them was in Oz. Zelina had it. Zelina had it, had access to it, knew where it was. It was easily grabbable nearly immediately after she realized what was going on. Traveling dimensions is fun and easy. And we all do it all the time. By so many means. Every single day, Rumpelstiltskin looks stupider. It's crazy. Zelina has a Jefferson hat, one of the many Jefferson hats, and she used it to escape Oz, to come to the Enchanted Forest, because an encroaching darkness was taking over the magical wizarding world of Oz. A darkness that's coming to eat every single magical realm. They're gonna get eaten by the void. The void is being created and strengthened as Emma Swan's belief in magic fades. So as her belief fades, more and more realms are being erased entirely. More and more people start gathering inside of the lobby that is Jefferson's hat, including Jasmine and Aladdin. They're here. They don't do anything. But they are physically present in this two-part finale. But even with the magic hat, they can't make a portal to a land without magic. Okay? So we need a different way to get back to Maine. Hook has an idea about how to solve this, about how to get them back to Maine. Regina will not even let him speak. Will not let him get a single word in, insisting that she's what they need to get Emma and Henry back. She's gonna do the magic. She's gonna fix this. We're not here to listen to pirates. All right? I'm trying to get back to Emma and Henry. I'm trying to get back to my family. Like Hook's not also trying to get back to his family. Like he didn't just marry into this family yesterday. Hook's idea is a magic bean. Obviously, because we all have magic beans now to travel between realms. Because traveling between realms is fun and easy to do. Hook and Charming go to the beanstalk, the giant's beanstalk, where Hook and Emma once had a very fraught adventure when they were just getting to know each other and they hated each other's guts still. And Hook gives an impassioned speech about him and Emma. It wasn't easy. It wasn't predestined. They worked for their love. And like they did. Climb the beanstalk, boy. We don't have time for this. Hook and Charming end up in the giant's palace searching for their magic bean prize. And it's under a cloche on the dinner table. I don't know why you would keep a magic bean there, but that's where they find it, all right? Magic bean acquired. But back at the castle, Regina and Zelina have started to do some magic, but who interrupts them other than the evil queen herself? The Wish Realm was not good for her. On account of how everyone there wanted her dead, Regina didn't tell her that part before she went. So the evil queen got there, realized that version of Henry was not gonna make nice. and then left for this realm, back to, I guess, regular Enchanted Forest. And she took Robin Hood and Friar Tuck and presumably some of the other merry men as well. Or no, Friar Tuck would have already been here. She took herself and Robin Hood, and now is Robin Hood reintegrating with the merry men? Like, has he met Roland? We don't know. We don't know, because we don't see Robin Hood. We just know that he's here, and that he and the Evil Queen are all about stealing from the rich and giving to the poor these days, even though she still lives in a castle. Okay, great. So it seems like everybody's kind of got what they need in the Enchanted Forest. We've got a magic bean. We've got 3 witches all working together on how to stop the void or hold back the void. So what's happening now in Storybrooke? Gold is still working at that pawn shop, but now he's doing so with his adult son, Gideon. And we see that Fiona is still insisting on being Gideon's mother figure. She's Henry's adoptive mother in this curse, but she's all motherly towards Gideon and does not appear to be sort of acknowledging that she is Gold's mom. So it's kind of a complicated amount of mom. This is also Henry's 4th mother of the season. If you were keeping track, he's got Emma, the biological mom, Regina, the original adoptive mother, the Evil Queen, the copy of his adoptive mother, and now Fiona, fourth mother of the season. Why is Fiona able to step in and mom at Gideon? Because Belle isn't here. Belle's not in this story. Apparently she left her husband and her son when Gideon was just a baby. Just up and ran off and went to go see the world. There's some amazingly photoshopped pictures of Belle traveling the world. Henry goes to break his mother out of the mental hospital, and Emma's doing pull-ups in a tank top again. Emma's doing pull-ups in a tank top again. They're doing all the greatest hits for this finale. Henry takes Emma to the rooftop where she got married to try to get through to her, get her to remember the truth, and it starts to work. She sees flashes of her wedding, but this woman believes herself to be profoundly mentally ill, and she does not trust visions. Emma is planning to go back to Boston, back to her real life, and Henry agrees to find her car keys for her and help her leave after dark. But Fiona catches Henry stealing the car keys and his fairy tale book back from Hopper's office, and she pushes him down the stairs. She pushes him down the stairs and, either dislocates his shoulder or breaks his arm. They don't make it super clear, but he ends up in the hospital, and then later on, his arm is in a sling. So now Emma believes that Henry is being tangibly hurt by these delusions, and the next time will be worse. It might not just be a broken arm. The kid could irreversibly damage himself. So now she is ready to burn the Book of Fairy Tales. Fiona takes Emma to an incinerator in a dungeon, just like how we all have, and Emma steps forward, book in hand. She places it into the incinerator, and the book catches fire. And just as it does, the Enchanted Forest, with her parents and her husband and her Regina, the whole reality begins to collapse. The void is coming for them as a direct result. As the book burns, the pages all flutter, revealing an image of Captain Hook, and Emma watches the fire consume it. Fiona brings Henry the burnt remains of the book on a dinner tray, on a plate, under a cloche with utensils next to it. It's probably my favorite thing she's ever done. It is fucked up and weird behavior, and that is what I like to see. That is what I need from my villains. Season 1 Regina ass move. Emma leaves for Boston, and in fact, makes it to Boston, her old place in Boston, exactly as she left it, literally still with the candle she blew out for her birthday in episode 1 on the table. So nobody loses an apartment in this universe. Maybe there's no rent in Once Upon a Time. Neil Cassidy's New York apartment still remains vacant. Emma Swan's Boston apartment has been vacant for years. She even goes right back to her bail bondsperson job, like they were just waiting for her to pick it back up. But Henry, the author, made her a new book before she left. He just wrote it down and drew little illustrations all on his own, detailing their history and all the adventures they had together. He writes about how they broke the first curse and about her family. Speaking of her family, let's talk about her father-in-law. Mr. Gold is actually awake. Surprise! And Henry knew damn well the lizard wizard wouldn't let himself get cursed like that. Gold is trying to find Belle, trying to figure out what Fiona did with her, because she's still definitely in town somewhere. Fiona would keep her around as leverage, just in case she needed it. And Gold refuses to help Henry, because he's single-mindedly focused on the Belle thing. He finds Belle. In case you were worried, he finds her confused and afraid in a little house all alone. No memories, no understanding of what's going on. So now Gold is looking for vengeance for his wife. Again. Also, Fiona still has Gideon's heart. She never actually gave it to Gold, and Gold just didn't notice, didn't ask for it first, didn't require proof that she would let her have. What do you mean by that? Okay? Fiona still has Gideon's heart, which means that Gideon helps Fiona find her old wand in the pawn shop, which she needs to translate the scribbles Henry wrote while possessed all that time ago. The key to winning the final battle. Henry also takes things from the pawn shop. He takes a magic mirror to tell everyone in the Enchanted Forest that he's going to go fight the Black Fairy all on his own, and then storms off with a sword that he took to go do just that. Yeah, kid, you've had like 30 lessons in sword fighting from a prince and a pirate combined. You can handle this. I think you've got it. But Henry is stopped by Emma Swan. She returned to Maine. How quick is that drive? How long was she in Boston? Emma's still not convinced. She has no memories, but she wants to be the person that Henry wrote about. She wants to be the person with a family that she would do anything for, that she has done anything for. That much, that desire, Emma does believe in, and it's enough to make her believe in Henry too. And that means the storm in the Enchanted Forest ceases. The void, which was quickly rolling in, stops. They're safe. And because Emma believes magic works normal. I forgot to tell you that magic wasn't working right because of Emma not believing in it made all the magic be bad. But now it's back now. They can use the bean and come home. Let's talk about the best part of the whole damn season. Fiona tempts an angry Mr. Gold, saying that once she wins, she can give Gold everything he ever wants. She can make Belle and Gideon love and accept him, even as the Dark One. She can even bring Balefire back to life. She seems to be under the impression that she's going to become Dark Sorcerer Supreme, much like how Jafar did in Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. But I don't know why she thinks that. Like, I don't know who told her that. That hasn't been part of it. What does she want? What does she want? Originally, Fiona's actions were fueled by the desire to protect her son, right? That's why she cut his strings. That's why she became the Black Fairy. That's why she was banished. And then she started kidnapping children, okay, to mine fairy dust and dark fairy dust so that she could be super powerful. And also, she kidnapped Gideon so that he could kill the savior and win the final battle. And she wants to win the final battle because, presumably because if she loses, she dies, right? Either she wins and the savior dies, or she loses and she dies. And that's no good. But it's not about her son anymore. Any of her sons. Her son, her grandson, or her great-grandson, all of which she's calling her son. She still does want Gold on her side. I think I've just really lost sight of what her end goal is, which makes her a deeply uncompelling villain. Anyway, I was talking about the best part of the season. She's giving this ultimatum to Gold. I can give you everything. You just have to stay on my team. We just have to win, and then you can have anything you want because I'll be the Dark Sorcerer Supreme. But
there's just one problem. All magic comes with a price.
And Gold is no longer willing to pay that price, baby! He's not gonna join his evil mom. He's gonna do the right thing. Fiona tries again to convince him. She's not even gonna be the one to kill the savior. It doesn't matter what happens to her because she already commanded Gideon, using his heart, to kill the savior at any cost. Her death could even ensure that this comes to pass because she's the only one who knows where Gideon's heart is. She's the only one that could undo this command in time. And Gold kills her anyway, evaporates her into dust with zero hesitation. Her curse breaks, and it's the coolest shit that Rumpelstiltskin has done in so long. Oh, it's just so perfect. It's so perfect. It's so good for his character. Why hasn't Belle done that to him yet? He said, I don't understand why you're not going to change. I have told this lie 27 times. I know how this ends. After killing his own mother, Gold travels beneath Storybrooke into the mines and argues with his own darkness, this manifestation of it. So you've got Mr. Gold and scaly Rumpelstiltskin just yelling at each other. Gold successfully finds and takes a hold of his son's heart and speaks into it, demanding that Gideon not kill Emma. It doesn't work. It's not gonna be that easy. This whole scene was just so we could have two Robert Carlyles next to each other and bask in what an incredible character actor he is. It was also to show us Gold finally doing the right thing. I would argue he's done the right thing in the past, but he did do it again this time, I guess, by telling Gideon to not go kill that guy. But curse is broken, Emma's memories all return, and Gideon is after her blood immediately. Henry knocks him out with a fire extinguisher to the back of the head. That's my boy! The folks from the Enchanted Forest did use that magic bean. They're all back. They're all gathering on Main Street. And Regina tells everyone that Fiona has left them a trap. If Gideon kills Emma, Light is destroyed. If Emma kills Gideon, she darkens her heart, and the light is destroyed anyway. So, is that the final battle? Surely not. Surely the final battle was the Dark Fairy because she was the manifestation and the beginning of all darkness. And this now is just like kind of the after effects of that. This is just sort of Fiona's revenge, but they frame it like this is the final battle. Like this now, this sword fight, which does kind of make sense because they've been telling us it's going to be a sword fight all season it's been going to be a sword fight. So the final battle is the sword fight happens on Main Street, just as prophesized, but in the fight, Emma throws her sword to the ground. What are you doing to Rumpelstiltskin? The cool thing about having a cat that likes to chew on cardboard is that your Rumpelstiltskin cutout is cardboard, and now he's got little teeth holes in his legs. Emma Swan decides to throw her sword to the ground so that she can willingly sacrifice herself. That is her play. Gideon is going to kill her, but she's going to allow this to come to pass. Gideon apologizes to her for what he must do and stabs her through with Hranthing. Emma explodes in a brilliant corona of white light, and then she lies lifeless on the cold, wet ground. In his grief, Henry kisses her on the forehead. True love's kiss, baby! She awakens. She's back. No one's ever dead. True love's kiss does not only fix sleeping curse, it also fixes dead. Emma should have tried that with Hook last season. Instead of going all the way to literal actual hell. Should have tried giving him a single smooch on the forehead. Henry can finally write the final page of the Once Upon a Time book, and it reads, when good and evil both did the right thing, the final battle was won. So when evil, being Gold, did the right thing by trying to help his son, and Emma did the right thing by willingly choosing to die, the final battle, which was, again, either a fight for Emma's soul and belief, or a straight up sword fight, or a secret third thing. The final battle is now over, and that's what it took, and we won? We win? But there is no the end at the end of the book, because it's a beginning, baby, just like the song from their wedding. Also, all the magic realms get put back to how they're supposed to be. They get unerased, and anybody who was erased gets put right back. Like they got blipped for just a second. Everybody gets their happy endings. And you know what all of their happy endings look like, of course. The Charmings move to a house. They finally move out of that one-bedroom apartment. They move to a house. Snow and David and baby Neil. And there's a lot of land, and they get a dog, and that is actually great because David loves dogs. Snow goes back to teaching. She teaches that same lesson about birds and birdhouses. Again, the dwarves label Regina's mayor office with Queen. Just Queen. No evil. She's just the mayor ruling over a town of people who have come to tolerate her. Captain Hook becomes a cop. And they turn the 1972 Volkswagen Super Beetle into a cop car. They put a siren on top of it. And they drive it around to do cop things. And Gideon is a baby again. What? I also just realized I never In the Arms of the Angel Fiona. Whatever, she's dead. You knew she was dead. I'm too distressed, okay? I'm distressed, and also when she died, I was too excited about how cool Gold was being. Gideon is a baby again. That's what I was talking about, so that he can have a fresh start and be raised by his two loving parents this time, instead of that evil lady that tortured him for 28 years. What a good household that's gonna be for him to grow up in, huh? Because Gold and Belle are giving it another try. Giving it another shot. It's gone so well all the other times. How many times did Belle promise to leave him? How many times did Belle say, this is your final chance, that was the final straw? Maybe we co-parent, huh? Separate houses? Separate houses, cordial co-parenting? There could be something to it. Everybody has a beautiful family dinner at Granny's in the Last Supper formation, in which Emma is in the position of Jesus. And then we flash forward to the future. We see a little girl, maybe 10 years old, named Lucy, holding that image, that Last Supper Granny's dinner, that image, in a book. Riding on a train in Seattle, she is nervous and alone, seems to have just this book and a backpack to her name. She knocks on a door, apartment number 815, in a complex she's never been in, and a man answers. Henry Mills. All grown up. Her father. He doesn't know her, but she knows him. And his family needs his help. And that's the end of season 6 of Once Upon a Time. I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't make any sense. And they're punishing me for all the time I've spent watching the show and trying to understand everything. Writing these scripts, recording, editing these videos. I'm being punished. This is some sort of divine retribution. But for what I could not say, I don't think I've done anything that heinous with my life, surely. Maybe it's for something that has yet come to pass. What am I gonna do? Oh, okay. Let's do the wrap up. Welcome to my nightmare. So the family tree has grown and changed and evolved. It is now worse. We, of course, finally have a name for Rumpelstiltskin's mother. That's the Black Fairy. We've got Gideon on there now. We also had to add Killian because he and Emma got Christian married. You'll recall they either have to have a baby or be Christian married to somebody in the main family tree for them to be added on. So we added Killian, which means we also had to put in his terrible father, Brennan Jones, and then both unknown named baby mamas. They gave us Killian and both Liams. I'm pretty happy with how the whole thing is laid out, except for the way that Neil sort of just had to get crisscross shoved in there for anything to make sense, but We all make sacrifices, okay? And Neil should be used to it. I don't even really have that much to say about the family tree at this point other than look at it. You see this? Do you see this? This is canon. This is just what the show is. This is true to the show. I didn't make any of that up. Oh, also David's dad has a name now. His name is Robert. He didn't have a name before this season, but now it's Robert. Incredible mystery solved. Oh, I didn't connect Regina and Henry with their dotted adoptive line. There's nowhere good to put that. Are we all happy now? Do we all feel fulfilled? Now, what I would really love is for you to send a picture, a screenshot of this family tree to one of your friends who has no concept of Once Upon a Time and ask them to guess which two characters are the main fandom ship. Yeah, it involves this one down here who is attached to two characters, and it's not either of those men. It's this lady all the way up here. Yeah, her step-grandmother that adopted her son. They're in love, or they would be, but the show is coward. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Let's do some rankings. We'll start with the best outfit of the season, and this is a real dark horse because I didn't mention it at all when it came up. It's a random Zelena outfit. The episode where the evil queen sends Archie to Zelena's house bound and gagged, and he eventually ends up turned into a cricket. Zelena is wearing something I cannot fathom anybody wearing to just chill out at home. She's hanging out with her infant daughter in a belted dress, leather capelet, and opera-length black gloves. That is a wild fit, and I love it. The moment she came on screen in this, I was paying attention. I was sat up. I was ready for there to be something important happening, and instead it was just her being mildly annoyed with the evil version of her younger sister. I don't know why she's dressed like that. She wears it for one episode and not even the whole episode. But I loved it. And I'm calling it my best outfit of the season. I think that should maybe tell you how underwhelmed I was in general by the costuming this season. Like, the Black Fairy didn't do much for me. She had multiple outfits and all of them were fine. I thought Tiger Lily was dressed just a mess, an absolute travesty. Everybody else was kind of just boring. It was either outfits we've already seen before or whatever. I wasn't wowed by Gideon's big, long, felt black cloak. That man was dressed in rags. And they weren't even like fun rags. They weren't even like artistic rags. It was just rags. That being said, I do have a runner-up best outfit. And it is, of course, every single look worn by the evil queen. Not Regina, the evil queen. She was consistently tearing up everybody else she was in a scene with. No matter who else was there, she looked the best, as she should. I will say, a little bit later on in the season, they apparently forgot how to blend Lana Perilla's real hair with a ponytail extension, and you can just very clearly see the separation. But if you ignore that part, she looks great. I also have a worst outfit. I know that sometimes I try not to include that so I can be a force of love and light and positivity in the world, but this time I simply do not have the energy. Because the worst decision in Once Upon a Time history was Mr. Gold's new haircut. Haley, that's not an outfit. Haley, you can't say that. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. It made every single thing he wore bad. And every time I looked at him, I was distracted by why he looked like that. Let's talk about our winners for the season. Most of the characters were taking constant L's the entire time, and nothing that happened in the end made up for that. But I do have some people who I think objectively came out on top. In third place, I have the evil queen. I think you have to admit, she scaled the ladder. She got everything she could have ever possibly wanted, right? She was created at the end of the last season, and then halfway through this one, she had a soulmate that she was with. She was in a realm that she could start over in. She had the acceptance of her son. Her doppelganger was like cool with her. The half of the darkness in her heart was removed, so she had more room for nuance. She truly just won, I think, by the end of it. There's not really any downsides. She's engaged to Robin Hood. I think the evil queen's life is better than Regina's by the end of this season. I will stand by that. In second place, I have Mr. and Mrs. Charming as a unit. They did take quite a few L's during the season, right? The joint sleeping curse thing, that was rough. But by the end of this season, their daughter, who they spent so long trying to befriend, for lack of a better term, they got to walk her down the aisle to get married to her true love. They got out of that one-bedroom apartment they've been living in into their dream home with a dog and with land. Their new baby is still doing well, seems perfectly fine the few times they do pay attention to him. But the number one winner of this season is Killian Jones. It absolutely has to be Killian Jones. Was he having a good time all season? No. He rarely is having a good time. That's kind of part of his character. He's always going through it. But he ends up happily married to Emma Swan. Happily married to Emma Swan. Of course he wins. What? He's accepted by Henry as Henry's new father figure. He gets to live in Emma's big house that she doesn't pay a mortgage for. He doesn't have to work a real job. He just pretends to play cop with his wife. So who's the loser of the season? Who ends up in a worse position than they began? Who ends up in the worst position of all? I feel like some of you may have already guessed, but it's obvious to me. Baby, it's Belle French. It's Belle French. What a terrible place she ends this season in. What a terrible time she had all season. To still end up in a terrible place at the end. She was pregnant. She got her pregnancy turbo-moded, so she was immediately giving birth. Body horror supreme. Baby got taken away from her. Baby returned as a 30-year-old man on a vengeance quest. Baby got turned back into a baby. So now she has to grapple with this, like, does Gideon still have any of the memories of being an adult man, of 30 years of torture, or is this like a full fresh start? And also she has to grapple with that while co-parenting with Gold, who she tried to leave so many times, and he has now successfully baby-trapped her. I know it's a happy ending for them, technically. Technically, yes, it is. After the whole show, and every single way she has tried to leave him and failed, I just don't see them being together as a win. I'm so sorry. I can't. I'm worried about her. And I don't know why nobody else in the show is worried about her. We don't even see her dad this season. Apparently he was supposed to be in one episode, but the scene he was in was deleted. So it does seem like she's very isolated, right? She's got friends. She didn't go to Emma's wedding, but she does have friends here. People here support her. They were so excited to see her when she was unsleeping cursed. But she doesn't really have other family, not present. Everybody who would want to stand up for her is terrified of her very, very powerful, duplicitous husband. I'm worried for her. But it's fine because she's happy. And if she's happy, then I'm happy for her. Guys, I didn't like this season. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I found very few redeeming qualities in it, which is upsetting because even in other parts of Once Upon a Time that I haven't liked, I have still found things to really attach myself to. Random little characters, bits, plot threads I was very invested in. And this one just didn't have it. I am optimistic for season 7, though. I thank you all again for your patience with the long wait for this one, and I would like to step in and give my extra thanks to all of my patrons over on my Patreon, patreon.com/HaleyWhipjack, who were so lovely, who were so supportive, who were so funny. Every time I came in with any kind of update that included a peek into my mental well-being, the combination of supportive and funny is exactly what I needed. And they were there for me with that. And now is everybody's favorite part of the video, everybody's favorite new game, which is Haley has 500 names to say, and we're going to see how many I can say before I fuck it up supremely. So I would like to thank my patrons. Patrons such as Alcyon Hero, Also Dragon, Autumn Vector, Blar, Dihar, Britty, Chatty C, Gwynrick, Hippie, Huffle, Catherine, Kazran, Christopher, Missy May, Nico, Fitz, Rainbow, O'Neill, Rue, Shiraz, Steph Delacour, Vesper Sinclair, Zisiri, Zachary Fly, Zebulon. T. Abilab, Abby V, Abby K, Abigaya, Abigail the Baker, Addie, Agimeame, Aiden Cassis the Stronger Aiden Sawood, Notoriously Low Roller, Amy E, Ain, Ansel Pixel, Ainsley Geary, AJ Holian, Akadiroku, Albandi Gyoza, Allison, Alex, Ali the Librarian, Alt Jess, Alyssa Pearl, Amalia, Amanda Nicole, Amber W, Ams, a name, surname, Anamoni, Anastasia, Annika Chanchani, Anna Elise, Anna Jones, Annie Bonus, Anna, Anthony Brantley, Annie Teller, Aoife, Applejacks, Aradia Kelstar, Archie Archertang, Argentum Inc., Artemis Nix, Ash, Asher Ackman, Ashley Figura, Ashley Peterson, Aston Deserko, Audrey Mouse, Aurelium, Aurora Ender, Autumnal Cleric, Avery Little, Aziz, Azula's Tale, Azure, Babity Kate, Bada Kid, Bailey Wind, Barghest 279, Barto Hawk 764, Basil, B Crime, Do Gay, Beard Acknowledge, Becca B, Beck B, Benny Babe, Benjamin Falter, Benny and the Tops, Bethany Draws Art, Bibble, Bill Pike, Black Rabbit 10, Blake Douglas, Blake Stewart, Blaze, Blueberry Boy, Bobby Banner, Box of Cherubs, Bree, Brenna, Brian Drake, Bridget Quinlivan, Bracerius, Broken Fork, Brianna, Bryn Osborne, Buckets, Burn Notice, 2007, Burnt Toast, Caleb, Camachu, Camden Clem, Cammy, Kendorian Wonder, Captain Leppy, Captain Twizzler, Carly Hartle, Caroline Oden, Kara Ray, Cass Rogers, Cass Carter, Casey Charlton, Casper Hope Tyndall, Cat in a Skin Suit, Catherine Mullen, Celadon Cerulia, Chaotic Kiwi, Chelsea Satter, Cherubel Hart, Cheryl, Chloe Bailey, Chronic Escapee, Clara Caboozle, Clemens Lime, Clever Name, Connor Virgilius Murphy, Corey Pup, Corey Cat, Courtney P, Kuste, Cress Moon, Cricket Vincent, Crow Maury, Cup of Stee, Dabba Die, Dakota L, Damian Miller, Dan, Danny B, Danny Sprague, Danielle Tefke, Danny, Dante Rizzuto, Dear Lady Disdain, Decayed Robot in a Green Field, Declan Roof, Deals, Devin Camerlocker, Digimaniac 33, Ditto, D and Dumbass, Draco Knight, Dracumiz Fuyafukadraga, Drake, Dragos, Eden Cassidy, Elijah Jackson, Ellie Bear, Ellis, Ellie, Elysium, Emily Fields, Emily Songer, Emma S, Emma Thomas, Emmy, Emoji Bones, and Nom. Ender Art, Erica Lynn, Irunch, Eskel, Evan Kinsella, Evan Linden, Evil Scrump, Far Out Wonder, Fenestrating Fungi, Florence. What? I was doing it right. My brain just bubbled. Lawrence, Tarnus, Foolery with Nori, Fraser King, Fresh Hex Flex, Frizzazzle Zoozle, Fudgeman 77, Finch R, Gabe, Gabby Gray, Gabriel Learbag, Gayhem, Giaminus, Georgie, Gianna Reed, Gil the Gilded Dragon, Godzilla Food, Good Soft Gay, Good Night Burrito, Gracie No-No's Gray Hawk, Gray into Green, Grayson, Green Walker, Gremlin, Gray Does Things and Stuff, Grimbus, Grolnock, Gumbles, Gungilf, Hakuna Machete, Hale M, Haley Walker, Handsome Penguin, Hannah Anderson, Hannah Jeffrey, Hey Pax Legomenon, Harley, Harper Hex, Head Full of Birds, Hart, Heidi Wilson, Helena Young, Heliotrope Fox, Hey, it's Jay, Holly May, Houston Littlejohn, I Will Sing No Requiem, Ian Roberts, I Can Make You Say Whatever I Want, I Dizzle 22, Infinity Girl, Insane in the Brain, Isby, I Ship Genfix, Izzy Valderrama, It's a Secret, JJ, Jawman 02, Jackie, Jaden Alex, James Jackson, James Quinn, James Summers, Jamie N, Jasmine, Jackson DeBox, JTP, Jane, Jeff, Jenna Murray, Jenny Waboom, Jericho, Jessica Stormwin, Jet, G-Dem, Joe, Jonah Levin, Jordan Brower, Jordan Islis, Josephine Ryder, Joshua Caliendo, Jubilee, Jubilina Bing Bang, Juggalol T, Juliana Backer, Julie Stonky, Jarnivoire, Caden McLean, K.O. Conrad, Kakasu Wolf, Callie Rivers, Carissa, Catherine Hill, Katie Larrabee, Kay, Caleb B, Keats Rowe, Kelsey Rodriguez, Kenny, Kenzie Sorrell, Kirby.jpg, Kevin McNamara, Keverlyn C, Key Zero, Kieran K, Kim S, King Cozy, King Panda, Kieran and Frankie Cat, Kitty Large Paws, Cool Cat, Chrissy DeHaas, Kiyoki, Kyle Richardson, Kylie, Lady Jessica, Laura, Lauren and Daisy, Lawson, Leaf Lemon, Lee, Legos Jedi, Lemons, Lemon M, Lemon, Leonix, Levi, Lexi Scott, Liam Fahey, Libby, Lillian, Lily, Lisa Spatalowitz, Lizzie Gale, Logan, Lord Smeldington III, Lou is a shoe. Love Music, Lynn May, Maggie Brown, Magic Quill 42, Mag Twisera, Maya Faranas, Malachi Sanguis, Manny S., Mariah Perez, Marianne, Marie, Martha, Mary Mac, Mary Poppins Jellyfish, Mary R., Matt Dam, Matt Mobes, Maveline, Max Roth, Meatball Cat, Meg, Mel, Mia, Micah, Michael Francis, Michael West, Michaela Phillips, Mimi, Mindless Nonsense, Minnie's Mayhem, Mira 9404, Mitchum Ditchum, MLD Irish 14, Mo Spooky, Molly McDade, Manev 94, Moon Noodles, Morgan Hansen, Mostly Void Shadows, Mr. Top Hatter, Murph Wazir, Mute, Nathan Mathewson, Nathan Thompson, Nick C., Nick the Brick, Nikki Zerd, Nicole Danielle Craswell, Nicole Key, Noah of Faye, OKCC Art, Alethea, Ami Grassi, Onyx Claw the Druid, the Archdruid, Onyx Claw the Archdruid, Orin T., Orion Constellation, Oski the Bard, Owen Klein, Oswin H., Page, Papa Midnight, Petal Stripe, Pete Alexander, Philip Dameron, Fix Phoenix, Phoenix the Frog, Piper Porter, Pluto, Poblato, Poetic Cinema, Prettiest Bearded Lady, Psych Bunny, Quince Hopkins, Quinn Rice, Quinn Valid, Rat Scratch, Razin, Rebecca Dawn, Red Hoodless, Reed Brody, Ricky, Robin, Roman Landslide, Roman Hierarchy, Rookie Baby, Rowan C., Rowan Rose, Rat King, Ruby King Dollar, Rhino, Sabrina Hawthorne, Sage Angel, Sagely Sapphic, Sam Sapowski, Samantha A., Samantha Fisher, Samara Kingston, Samson, Sarah Short, Sarah Ann, Sarah Clark, Sarah Greer, Sarah Kitchen, Sarah Sunshine, Sarah! Scam Likely, Scariest Bird, Sean Ryland, CB, Sarah Vale, Shibuya Gato, Side Source, Silly Juice, Simon Says, Site 42, Skylar Grayson, Sluisk, Sophilophisaurus, Sophilophisaurus, Solodolo, Sophie Hatcha, Space Battery, Spartan Warrior, Spapple, Spooky Noodle, Stand Up Domedy, Steen, Stevie Meyer Whaley, Stevie U, Street Cleaner, Sudini, Summer Zarnowski, Sunbell, Summer Solstice, Supercalifragilistic Existential Crisis, Severi, Sydney Hobson, Silas SSS, Taylor Burke, Techno Aegis, T, Tex the Gentle Giant, That Boy Eats Rats, the Arsonist of Arland, the Plum Satyr, the Robin's Wayne, the Silliest Apollo, the Wizard C, the Wizard Sober, the Dog Walker 247, the Month of April, Theodore Lawrence, the Smart Turnip, Thomas Guzzo, Tiffany Velasquez, Tim, TJ Dash, Toby Springer, Tommy Peterson, Trin Lise Anderson, Triple A He They, Trizadale, True Shrike, Useless Lesbian, Val Holland, Vanessa Johnson, Vanillin Zunker, Vicky Dudley, Victoria Faye, Via Name, Virgil's Inferno, V Sharp, Vunks, Wes, Wild Red Mutt, William D., William McCafferty, William Scott, Windermere Peaks, Woody Daniel, Ren Bunce, Ren Cloud, Showtime, Yara Leticia, Yes Chef, Ngve Leo, Zachary Vance, Zachary Wayman, Zane, Zephlordicus, Zoara, Zoe, and Zorluke, as well as every other name you've seen scrolling past. There were definitely names in there that I fucked up and just kind of kept going because they didn't trip up my brain enough. So sorry if I just said it wrong without the confused pause. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me, for making it 6 seasons into this adventure with me. And I will see you on the next one! I'm very comforted by the amount of people who told me season 6 is as bad as it gets. That season 7 is just like a brand new show, and I really hope that it is, because if my track record with spin-offs is anything to go by, I think I'll have a great time with it. Praying I'll have a great time with it. You know the kind of mental strength it takes to come back to a video series you already feel weird about when this is the material you're returning to? My one true son, Henry Mills, got me through it, and he will continue to pull me through the final season. I know that he will. And if you've made it this far, boy, the next video that comes out is going to be a silly one about the video game Hades, because that's what I've been doing. I've been so brave to stop playing Hades long enough to make this video.